You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army. Live daily on the website, on YouTube, on DAB, and on every online radio directory. NUFC Talk, the voice of the Toon Army.
Guess who's back? Hey! The Geordie Yam Yam is back in the house. Welcome one and all to NUFC Talk Radio across the Northeast. I hope you've all missed me, because I've missed you. I have missed the banter. Obviously, I've got the usual crew on the early part of the late show, the Mighty Wyn, Christina, Tooney, and obviously Boaky is coming in. He looks very stern in that bottom corner, Boaky. He's obviously ready to throw some pie at me, some banter. Obviously, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting week away, week and a half away from football. No football talked about until today, believe it or not, on my travels back yem. But we'll get into all that in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have had a fantastic bank holiday weekend, and happy Easter to all of you.
And happy Easter to you too.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Fantastic. Right then, let's start with my usual opener, and then we'll get on to some of the stories that are out there. And you're quite right what you were saying. In the green room, we haven't really spoke about Trippier, but we have got other areas to consider when it comes to people leaving. So evening, everybody out there, the Toon Army. You're tuned in to us, obviously, Newcastle 90, as I'm going to start calling it, where we talk Europe, transfer rumours, and the kind of chaos you can only get north of the Tyne. The target's still Europe, just not the Conference League. Mind, we're too classy for Thursdays in Bratislava, apparently. Lamine Kamara's rumoured. Tonali might be swapped for some lad called Ugarte. And Matt Targett's already said, I'm done. Like he's leaving the night out on the big market at 11:30. Meanwhile, poor Vlachodimos says we broke our promise. Mate, join the queue behind everyone, still waiting for sunshine and a hot Greg's pasty that doesn't take the roof off your mouth. It's all kicking off. Grab your packer, crank up the volume, and let's see if the Toon can make Europe before the rain stops, which means never. Here we go then. It's been an interesting few days, if you like. Like I said, I left the building because of work commitments with my young'un. He's doing exams, so I literally and thank you to everybody that jumped on board and filled the segment for me. And like I say, I've been solely concentrating on him behind the scenes. So I've spoken nothing about football, but like I say, apart from today on the way back, when I managed to have a coffee and talk to a so-called, I don't know how true it is, a Manchester United scout who guarantees, and that's what his words were, I guarantee you there's been a conversation made towards Tonali. And he did make some comment about potential player swap. And like I say, we're going to get into, like I say, I don't know how true these things are, because like even at football clubs, there's a lot, you talk about Chinese whispers, when you talk to somebody, you say one thing and by the time it's got back to you, the actual story is totally different from what you originally said. So it is interesting. But to be fair, I thought about, we'll start with David Hopkinson, if you like. He's confirmed Newcastle's top four ambition hasn't changed at all. PIF reportedly aren't thrilled at the thought of Conference League nights. It's Europe or bust, according to the change of heart, if you like, from Mr. Hopkinson. So what I wanted to ask you guys, with us sitting, I'll start with you, Wyn, with us sitting mid-table. Is Europe or bust realistic or delusional now? Because, obviously, I know you love to keep touching those points. We're only so many points away from being Europe. But if they don't want Conference League, for me, I don't think, Europe is Europe. And I know you like the far and wide when it comes to strange places to visit, shall we say. So is it realistic now, or is it still, as Boaky says, delusional?
Realistic, or I think it's a bit of both. I think that the table says it's realistic. There's only 6 points to Champions League, so it's definitely realistic. But the question is, can we eventually turn this corner that we've been failing to turn all season and put a string of results together? It's all about consistency. And we know from the past and from football generally, football is such a confidence sport that if you get a run, once you get started on a run, it's much easier to keep that run going than it is to actually get it started. If you look at the fixtures, realistically, you would say every game is winnable. But again, if you look at it realistically, these are exactly the sort of fixtures where Newcastle historically, recently, have failed to turn up. Your Brightons, your Bournemouth, your Fulhams, your Palaces. So whilst they're all eminently winnable, they're all equally difficult. So it's pretty much pay your money, take your choice kind of time, And it's a question of whether the lads step up or not. We've hopefully got players coming back from injury, although I haven't seen that confirmed anywhere yet. That Bruno and Miley, who had been rumoured to be back, that Shea, who'd been rumoured to be back in time for the Palace game, I haven't seen anything anywhere telling me that that's going to happen.
No. Obviously,
I don't even know whether they've been into training today. With it being a bank holiday, maybe not. I don't know how they work these things. But we'll certainly know by tomorrow whether they are in training. And
yeah, I think obviously we've seen Bruno. We've seen Bruno. We've seen Bruno's boots. So I don't know whether Bruno is actually involved, but he's obviously back. And obviously they did mention, as you said, that Shaw should be available. I don't know. I think it may be too quick to get him straight back. I mean, he may be in the squad. He may be involved deep down, but I mean, I think it could be probably a week or maybe two. A little bit early, if I'm honest with you. It'd be great to see him back. I mean, for me, looking at what we've got, you're absolutely right, Wyn. I mean, the problem is they are doable. And for me, I think, for Newcastle to be top four contenders, if you're looking at top four, you've got to get 18 points from somewhere. And you've got to hope that nobody else or other teams drop points. So it is doable, but I mean, it's been a hard slog this season. That's without a shadow of a doubt, without throwing too much sulkiness over it. It has been a slog, and I think the players themselves will tell you that they looked a little bit drained, a little bit lost of ideas at times. And for me, I thought it was an absolutely spot on time for the lads to go away on international duty and do something different. Because sometimes that can re-energise the batteries a little bit. I mean, Boaky, does this change the pressure then? Does it help Eddie Howe or does it hurt him? I know you ain't a massive fan on Eddie. Now you think he's reached his ceiling. But do you think what Hopkinson has said now regarding, obviously they're going to have a big conversation in the summer, do you think that puts a lot more pressure on Eddie Howe to get these next, was it 7 games left, isn't it? The results that he's needed for Champions League?
I think with Eddie Howe and Hopkinson, Hopkinson seems to speak at strange times. He seems to come out and make statements at strange periods of time. Because, I mean, he did it before the Man City game in the Cup. He came out and made the whole statement about, we're going to get through to the final, all this sort of thing. Whereas he could have held off that interview for a couple of days and did it after we were out. And he's done the same with this period of time where how he's, I don't know whether he's deliberately putting pressure on the guy, whether he's deliberately trying to make Howe prove himself. I don't know whether he's come in and thought, Howe isn't all that sort of thing. I'll see if I put that little bit of pressure on from above, whether that sort of, that has an effect with him. There's no other reason I can think of doing interviews at these strange times. With these games, you've just said quite rightly, would need 18 points from 7 games. The only thing I would say is, have we ever looked like doing that this season? Have we ever looked like winning 6 out of 7 games? And I'll even let you include cup games. Have we ever looked like we're going to win 6 and 7? And I don't think we have.
I think the biggest problem I think the biggest problem this season, and you've mentioned it, a lot of the times, is we've never really knew what Newcastle team were going to turn up. Sometimes they turn up and look an absolute different team altogether. First half to second half, in fact, if you look at certain games. And I think that's been the biggest issue for me this season. It's been more the inconsistent, not like I say, not game after game. It's actually during games as well, where you literally go in at half time and not really still 100% sure the same team is going to return back to the field of play.
One thing I would say, Gary, is from now, what we need to do is, we've got 7 games left. We've got plenty of time between games. I've argued all season for rotation. That's out the window now. Now you play your best goalkeeper, so that's Ramsdale. You play your best defence. Me and Wyn would argue about Burn or Botman. But whichever one you choose for these last 7 games, you stick with the same 7. They've all had a rest, so there's no need to rotate now. You stick with the same midfield. If you've got your best midfield out there, you go Tonali, Bruno, and J7. In my view, I think Wyn would maybe go with Willock because he did a PowerPoint presentation that showed Willock was miles ahead of Tonali, so Tonali would come out for him. And up front, you go with Wissa, you go with Gordon, and to be honest, at the minute you go with Murphy. You just think Elanga has improved himself. Wissa hasn't proven himself at all. You just go with your best team. And I know a lot of people out there will be mentioning Barnes, but to me, you at this point, you pay all your square pegs and square holes, and you absolutely you have to go for it. So I think that's the interesting thing. It fair enough if we get 4 games into this streak, this running, it isn't working, it's gone. Europe isn't in the question anymore. Then you start trying out players. But at this point, for the next few games, you've got to go with your absolute strongest team, and Eddie Howe shouldn't worry about what other people think about it. He should go with the team that he thinks is the strongest and see where we get.
So did you say Wissa ahead of Walter-Maida?
Sorry, Voldemort ahead of Wissa.
Oh, okay. That clarifies my biggest question in that one, to be fair.
So here's one for you then, Christina. If we only sneak 8th, do Piff keep faith or start shopping for the Hollywood boss? That's my next, because obviously they don't want the Conference League, right? So potentially 8th could be Conference League. If they see that as us regressing, if you like, is it then time for that door to open and Eddie Howe to be pushed aside and look for that big name replacement?
I mean, I think the hardest question that we've got at the moment as Newcastle United supporters is, what exactly do PIF want? What are PIF thinking at any time? We don't seem to hear a lot from them. Obviously, this came out suggesting that we don't want Conference League, so I would imagine if we get Conference League, then that might be what they see as being, a reason to replace Eddie Howe. It might not be. I mean, it was only a few months ago that they were saying that they weren't setting goals for this season, and now all of a sudden that's changed. So it's a little bit unpredictable. But if they're going to be the ones who make the decision.
On that, I could just ask, what would your opinion be if we do finish it? Should we replace Eddie Howe?
I've always said I'm not the type of person who's going to have an opinion on that, to be honest. It's not ever going to be my decision. So
it's not your decision. But what would your thoughts be on it? Is 8th good enough? Should we be looking to replace Howe at that point, or is 8th okay and we should keep Howe? What are your thoughts on that?
I honestly do not have a definitive thought on that. Like, I can see arguments for both. I mean, Eddie Howe has given us 4 of the best years that we've ever had, but maybe this season's once again proven that when we're in Champions League, maybe he can't manage that extra game a week. But I mean, I wouldn't be adverse to giving him another season to see if it does work out. But
so you're saying keep Howe if we finish 8th. That's fine if that's your opinion. That's what you think.
That's not my solid opinion. I don't want.
So you think get rid of Howe if we finish 8th?
Okay, I honestly, Boaky, don't think either. Like, you're trying to tie me down to an opinion that I can't.
I'm not trying to tie down. I'm just asking for your opinion of whether. So say we don't finish 8th, since say we finish 9th, we're completely out of Europe. Would you keep Howe then, or would you say Howe has to go then?
I still wouldn't. I'll just whoever's the manager of Newcastle United next season, I'll hope that they do well. If that's Eddie Howe or somebody else, then that is what it is. I mean, football managers change.
So you've got no opinion over the manager whatsoever. There's nothing there opinion wise.
Not in regards to whether he stays or goes. Not
right.
At the moment.
Fair enough.
I can't. I don't know. There's probably a lot of thinking I would have to put into that, but I don't think I'm the type of person who could just be like, okay, this is my stance on this. I'm Eddie in or I'm Eddie out. Like, I can't do that. Sorry.
So instead of putting on Eddie Howe, then if Newcastle United finish 8th this season, is that good enough, or is that not good enough? So you're not putting it on Eddie Howe as such. You're putting it on
for this season. With the season that we've had, if we finish in 8th, I'd be okay with that. It's not up to whether
you see 8th as progression in this league.
Progression from last season? No, certainly not. But I also see it's better than every other year that I've supported Newcastle United up until the last 4. So to me, it's like, okay, we're finished in 8th. At least we're not getting relegated. Like, I'm still not in a position of, okay, now we've got to change our mentality and just want to win everything every season. And I know eventually we will get there. I mean, I've got friends who I often go to watch football with, who, when we won the trophy, I was like, wow, can you imagine what it's going to be like here when we win? Like, because you remember when we won the Carabao Cup and everyone was in Newcastle? And I was just amazed because I've never seen us win anything like that. And I knew that people were going to take it seriously. I took it seriously. I was watching people in this room who were watching the game with me crying, and I was like, wow, this is actually amazing. And then when I came back up here on that bus, as somebody who's lived in Newcastle for a long time and who knows how much football means to the people of Newcastle, I couldn't believe what I was watching, with people who were there just sending me videos of this absolute horde of people that looked like some sort of zombie survival game amount of people just following this bus down the road. And I turned around and I said,
the cup win was excellent. So at that point, you'd have been completely Eddie in, yeah? You'd have said Eddie should stay no matter what?
Well, not no matter what. No manager stays no matter what.
No, you would have said Eddie stays.
Mercury Dame celebrates
making that decision.
But no,
Mercury Dame is celebrating 16 months of membership. He says Boaky is questioning like he's in the CID.
But no,
am I getting put in jail here? What's going on? Thank you for your membership there, though.
No, you
was a saying, win a man for all seasons, Boaky, a man no reason. Kiss.
you go down the route of obviously talking about the cup win. At that point, I would have been Eddie in 100%. I think it was one of the best days of my life.
Yeah, but that's the difference between you and me is you look at things as, okay, right now, this is my absolute stance, this is my opinion, I am Eddie in. And then you also look at it now and you're like, okay, this is my opinion, this is my stance. You've said it in the forum many times that no matter what he does from this point in the season, you are very staunchly Eddie out. And there are a lot of people who have a mindset like that, where you stick to an opinion and you've got a very, very strong opinion on that. And I just don't have that.
That's fine. So you've just got no opinion, no matter who's manager, you've got no opinion on them whatsoever. That's all your stance.
Opinions on I can give you an opinion on my opinion on Eddie Howe. I can't give you an opinion on whether
fair enough. So is your opinion on Eddie Howe this season that he's been good enough?
Good enough by what standards?
by where we are in the league. By where we are in the league.
I mean, but to my low bar, yeah, he's been okay. To the standard of the project, probably not. It's probably been seen as a less than satisfactory season. Now, do I know that for a fact? No, I definitely do not. I do not know what Hopkinson's thinking. I don't know what PIF are thinking. I don't know where they feel that we should be as a football team right now at this point in this season. I know that there are a lot of fans who are very appreciative of everything that Eddie Howe has done and want him to be given a more longer term deal because they're worried about what will happen if you change the manager. We've seen this before. We've seen it at other clubs. We've seen it with ourselves when we got rid of Bobby Robson. You know, people have got a right to feel scared about getting rid of Eddie Howe. And then we've got other people who are very appreciative of what he's done, much like yourself there, Boaky. But you want nothing more than to get rid of him. You don't believe that we can attract the players that you want to see wearing Newcastle shirts next season with Eddie Howe in charge. And you don't believe that he can redeem himself and that he can bring the team back to where it should be. You seem to have given up on the idea that he can develop and learn from what's happened this season. And that's also a valid point. And I can see why people think the way they think. And I've got an opinion on him as a coach and as a man manager, and I like him as that.
So what are your opinions on him as a coach and as a manager this season?
I think he's been proven to be a good coach. I think his man management's been good this season. I think the way that there's a super chat from Wazza, if somebody wants to read that before I start on my high horse again.
Yummy. The man with the black magic box, zip wire hero.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you're not telling us.
You've just got yourself into a black magic advert,
Gary, all because the lady loves milk tray.
Absolutely. I just need the polo neck and the mask. And there you go. I'll scare anybody at night. I'll tell you now if you do. You don't want me delivering your black magic. Anyway, listen, I'll get your point. Right? I'll get your point. And I didn't want to butt in there, Tina, but it's like, it's really weird, you know, because we're all Newcastle fans, okay? We are black and white through and through, and and even in the chat, you know, you've got to listen to people's opinions. But it's really weird to have friends in and around the Midlands that know I'm a massive black and white fan, and all they say to me is, "Why would you get rid of a manager because he's had one bad season?" And when you look at what other managers have done, you know, when you, I mean, he hasn't disappeared because I've asked that question. He's disappeared because he's got a delivery. Bless him. And I think, yeah, Becca's saying more like the Prowler, Gary. Absolutely, sweetie. You know, for me, it is. I am on the fence. I really am on the fence, and I think the biggest problem for me was the way we performed at Sunderland games. You know, it's like, where's the pride? Where's that power? And I know people often look at derby games as if, say, it doesn't mean that much when you look at a season per se. But I just didn't see enough passion for me. And that's what made me question whether Eddie Howe... And I don't think Eddie Howe's a bad coach. I just think sometimes, you know, when you just get tired, when all that energy, all that passion, all that drive has gone because you've tried so much this season to get the results and it's just failed. Now, people will always point the finger at one area, and you know, for me, I can't just point the finger at Eddie Howe because I just don't think the players have delivered either. You know, people will always come back to say, well, injuries have always hampered us, but other teams have injuries. Other teams seem to get together and get results, even lesser teams. What I haven't seen from our players this season is enough engagement in games, enough want to win those games. So to me, it's a case of, have we lost that passion within the dressing room? And I'm not saying it's Eddie Howe's coaching. As the players just lost that north-east passion to go out there, regardless of who they're playing against, to get those 3 points. That's where I'm looking at now. And, you know, we talk about the amount of players that could be leaving, will be leaving. I mean, we talk about Trippier, I'm sure, in a second. Because if you think of the five, that's come during those dark days, you know, when we were relegation fodder, Only two are left now. You know, once he's gone. So there's a lot of players that were here from that start that ain't going to be here much longer. So, and that's what I'm looking at now. Is this change of team mentality where there's potentially 8 players going out and 8 players coming in? Is this the right time to change the gaffer as well? Because at the end of the day, it's all about trust now, isn't it? Is there still enough trust within him to get the job done?
Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
The key factor for me is, do the players still trust him? And that will manifest itself in the next 7 games. That's going to tell me whether those players are still full square behind the project, behind Eddie.
So when, rather than using the next 7 games, what about using this season? Do you feel all the players are being behind him all season?
You know, we're raking over old coals, Boaky. You know, this season has been poor.
No, I'm not raking over old coals. I'm asking you a sensible question. You're saying you're going to use the next 7 games. Do you think the previous games have proved that the players have been fully behind him this season?
Well, on the face of it, you would say not, because there's been some very poor performances.
So in which case,
whether those performances,
why aren't those players behind him? In which case?
So can I just?
Well, I don't know.
No. Just let Wyn answer. Why aren't those players behind him? In which case?
I'm not saying they aren't behind him.
You've just said that it doesn't look like they've been behind him this season. So why is that the case?
I'm saying I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know why.
So in which case,
but I'm not saying they're not behind him. That's why I can't answer it.
Well, you just did. You just said it doesn't look like they have been. So why hasn't it looked like they have been?
Well, because they haven't been performing to the levels that we know they can perform to.
So that's down to the manager.
Why is it down to the manager? It's down to the players.
But you've just said that the players, if the players were behind him, they would be giving them 100%. That's right.
They can still have bad games.
But this many bad games in a season, for so
Well,
many
yes,
players this many players to have this many bad games, so it's all down to the players having bad games.
It doesn't take this many players. In the Premier League, it only takes 2 or 3 players to be having bad games.
So why we had consistently 2 or 3 players? I would say there's more in the team that have had bad games, but why we had consistently that many players having bad games all season, and in the cups as well?
What are you talking about in the cups?
Well, no, don't reflect the cup. No, sorry, I mentioned the cups. Forget about the cups. And why we had 2 or 3 players every game in the Premier League having bad games this season?
Well, you need to ask the players that.
Well, no, you need to ask the manager.
There have been
if it happens
valid
as a one-off,
reasons why they've had bad games.
What are the valid reasons?
Well, they've had personal problems up the pitch. They've had babies. They've had all sorts of things going on that we're not privy to.
Two players have had babies. I don't know what Trippier's had problems off the pitch. So that's 3 players. What explains the rest of the players also having bad games?
The rest of the players haven't necessarily all had bad games, but they've all had injuries.
What explains Wissa? What explains Voltemora? What explains them?
Voltemora is a new player. Well, let's take them one by one. Voltemora is a new player, young player getting used to a new league that he's not used to. So that's Voltemora. Wissa's been injured all season. Never got off to a good start.
You're taking it one by one. Let us do that. We paid £60 million for Voltemora. So he's a German international. Should we not have had the team ready, knowing what type of player he was and ready to settle into him?
We didn't know we were getting him until the season was already in full swing.
So do you think that was a bad signing? In which case,
can I just jump in?
No, I don't think it's a bad signing.
Let me just jump in at this point.
Do you think it's proved as a good signing?
I think it could well prove to be a good signing.
I think I totally agree.
I'm saying at this point, does it look like a good signing?
It doesn't matter at this point. The season will be defined in the next 7 games.
No,
And and after the next 7 games, I'll make my mind up.
The season's already been defined.
The season hasn't already been defined
Out
at all.
of every cup, we've crashed out of every cup competition.
What are you talking about? We've crashed out of every cup competition.
We're in any cup competitions now.
We've been beaten by Man City twice, one of the best teams in Europe.
The one who actually won one of the cups, actually.
Again, but in regards to this,
the cup winners, as it happens.
Baltimore at this point is our highest ever signing. Has he proven to be a success? Not, is he going to be a success? Has he proven to be a success?
Compare our highest signing and how much we paid for him
to
everybody else who you are comparing us to. Compare us to their highest signings and how much they cost them.
I'm not comparing with anybody. I'm asking you a simple question. Baltimore's our highest ever signing. Has he proven to be a success to this point?
Well, in real terms, Baltimore is not even our highest ever signing.
Again, you deflect them from the point. Who are you going to say is the highest priced ever signing?
Well, who's the only player we've ever bought who was a world transfer record at the time?
Even I
Listen,
that one.
Try Alan Shearer.
Yeah, but Alan Shearer cost £15 million. Baltimore,
which was a world record at the time.
When you're deflecting off the subject completely.
I'm not deflecting at all, but there's the word. It's back. Deflecting is back. Prosaic's back on the scene. Cheers, Prosaic.
Hey. Yeah. Thank you.
You know what? I've came on your night deliberately trying to keep to the point with the both of yous, and again, you don't answer the question.
And that has gone to Michael D.
Well, allow me to answer your then, and since you're going to try to drag me into this one more time.
Well, no, I'm not dragging you into
let
this.
me answer the question, Boaky. Let me answer the question.
Don't shout me down. Excuse me. Don't shout at me like that. There's no need. In regards to this, I came on the night asking you simple questions, and again, you haven't answered us.
But are we not just repeating? I'm going to say, are we not just repeating the same old? It's like I said, it does get a bit, and again, we've lost a couple of people in the chat because we're talking about stuff that we've actually spoke about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it just seems as though we're a continual, repetition show, and it's not the way it should be. I think what you've got to ask you, the biggest question for me is, why have we got two teams? Well. No. Let's just be sensible here. Why have we got two teams that come out first half play well, second half totally different side? So you've got to ask the question: is where's the mentality in the dressing room? Where's the leaders in the dressing room? Who's the person that's making these choices to go and defend a 1-0 lead very poorly? May I just ask? So it is. I hope it's just me and thee then, Jack. Like I say, I don't know what is going on this evening. I'm hoping we can all get some conversations together. But again, we are literally down to the situation of if the manager has struggled to get the best out of the players this season. Then obviously questions have to be asked towards him.
We can all
absolutely
agree that's the case.
And I do think, we are starting to see, and I agree with Boaky what he just said there, I don't think David Hopkinson done himself any favours with that conversation pre the Man City game on Talk Sports. And then obviously he's changed his tune a little bit now. And I think that's why I've asked the question. Does this not just put more pressure on Eddie Howe than he actually needs? Or is it the kick up the backside that Eddie needs to go and get these players now performing just the one game a week? That's all they've got to concentrate on. But it seems very much to me as though he's got to change that mentality, that half-time dressing room. Whoever's taking that conversation needs to really push that, that conversation about we can't be two different teams on the same day, in the same 90 minutes. We've got to continue being the team that started the game.
And we thought that had been addressed as per last season after the Brentford game. When they came out and then they won the 3 away games on the trot. And we thought, well, hello, we've turned the corner. And then lo and behold, same old, wheel comes off, players don't perform, and we end up where we are now. But is where we are now an absolute total disaster? I don't believe it is. And this is, for me, the key difference between the Eddie in us and the Eddie out us is expectations. What are realistic, reasonable expectations for this current squad with what they've cost, what we pay them, as opposed to the teams that we are trying to compete with at the top? Now, of course, you can look at the table and you can say, you know, Brentford are above us, Sunderland are above us, and we've got far bigger resources than they've got. And that's perfectly valid. What I'm saying is the season isn't finished. And there's every chance that we could either go further back or go on a run. I'm hoping we go on a run because, as you know, I'm very much a supporter of Eddie, and I think in any event, a manager should be allowed one iffy season. Progress in football is never linear. If it was, every team would be getting better every season, and that's physically impossible.
Well, to be fair, they are. And I think that's what we found this season, isn't it? You know, the teams that were, if you like, under us are now are equal par because we are underperforming. But again, are we underperforming because we've overachieved? And I think, again, you've got to balance it, you know, and I think it has to be a sensible, I suppose, a sensible conversation. And it really comes to, like I said, I haven't been Eddie in or Eddie out all season. I support Newcastle United. Whoever's at the helm, I support them until they walk through the door. But it's really funny to see and listen to, you know, Newcastle fans want him gone, but people that aren't fans of Newcastle actually question whether we're doing the right thing. When parental clubs, if you like, their parental clubs have done the same thing or done this idea of moving the manager on and then struggled, you know, there on in for some time. I mean, we've seen Aston Villa, you know, they've only literally come to some stability under Unai Emery. But before that, it was like it was a tumbling ship, if you like. Everybody was questioning whether this was the right move. And that's where we are. We've been for the last 4 seasons, stability. We've been stable, we've been achieving. And now all of a sudden, it's a bit unsure.
We've had a dip.
Absolutely. And again, nobody's going to question that. But is it the right thing to get rid of the gaffer? And I think, like I said, you're still going to have those that favour him and want to give him another season. And there'll be those that literally just want to shout on the door because they feel we could do better under a different thing. And that's what I'm saying. If you've got 8 players leaving, you've got to have 8 players coming through the door. Is that the best time to change the manager? Because it's a new ethos, it's a new mentality, a new approach to the season, therefore. Let's get on with this Hopkinson's interview last week hinted on this player trading, if you like, this player trading era. It's something that Newcastle have been very reluctant in, or very, I would say, struggling to do, if I'm honest with you. The club's calling it Newcastle 2.0. Expect big exits, possibly even Tonali or Bruno, according to iNews. Howe's future is still obviously a big part of this question mark. Hence, we've just been having this debate. Is he part of the solution or is he part of the problem? But a review is still planned in the summer. And I think, again, it doesn't matter what we think as fans. You know, it's up to the board. Those that pay the wages, they're the ones that will make it happen until the crowd seriously get the voices heard. And we've started to see that happen. So let's talk about Howe's project then. It's running out of steam. It's not really doing much this season. Is a fresh number of heads, new players coming through the rank, it's what's needed at Newcastle now. I mean, Eddie Howe's been running the ship, if you like, with a lot of experienced players. I'm not going to say old players, but a lot of experienced players. Is fresh blood required now? It's something that, you know, Eddie Howe's been stating every window, every opportunity he has. Fresh blood in is future-proofing the club. Yes, we've spent a lot of money.
He constantly, he was saying this last season that things were getting stale because we couldn't sign anybody, and you know, he said he was trying to find new ways on the training field to rejuvenate the oomph, for want of a better expression.
Yeah.
But you know, we're talking about big changes, so potentially Tonali, you're saying Bruno even in the eye. I hope Bruno doesn't go. I really do.
Yeah.
But the one thing we do know is, yes, you were saying you were talking to the scout and he's been saying they've had talks. The one thing we do know about Newcastle United now is that they definitely know how to keep a secret.
Absolutely.
If they don't want anything getting out, it won't get out, as was proven by the stadium. You know, that stadium deal was done 9 months ago now.
Yeah. Nothing was heard of.
Nobody knew a thing about it. Nobody.
No. Not even the likes of Craig, who apparently has got an inside man, you know?
Yeah. Well, there's a few of the journos who allegedly have got good sources inside the club, but none of them, unless, of course, they may have had the story and been sworn to secrecy or something, I don't know, possible. But you would have thought it would have emerged, shall we say. We've got Paul Wright saying we've become stale and predictable. We certainly have.
Yeah. But again, you see that you've got to point the finger towards Eddie with that one. That's what I'm saying. You know, and there's very few people that I listen to and give a little bit of credit to. I don't want to be sounding condescending when I say that. But you know, when opinions are opinions, and I absolutely love everybody and listen to everybody's opinion. Doesn't mean that I agree with it, but I will listen to it. I've got to that point now in my career in football where there's a reason, there's a rationale for everything, right? And I always think that when you look at the team, per se, the whole squad, there's been far too many problems, not just at pitch level. For me, Newcastle have been in turmoil, and I'm going to mention the word turmoil. I've said this before.
Good word.
At the top, right? And when you've got that, it makes a problem elsewhere. You know, when you cast a stone into a lake, the ripples just go wider and wider. And unfortunately, you know, Darren Eales got a lot of credit during the interview with Hopkinson because the current financial state has been a lot of work being done by himself and the crowd, if you like. So well done to him. But Hopkinson's now got to take on that reign and continue the really good work behind the scenes. But it's only just starting to happen where we've got a bit of stability in the boardroom. And I think that has been an absolute massive impact on everything Newcastle this season. You know, when you talk about Mitchell leaving, that didn't help the situation. Isak leaving didn't help the situation. And you can point the finger at so many things. And that's why I said, when you point the finger at one man, I think you've just got to open your eyes a little bit more and have a look at the broader aspect of what's happened at Newcastle United rather than what's just happened with results, because it has made a massive impact this season. Now, again, is that enough to throw Eddie the noose to say, thank you so much, it's time to go? I potentially don't think it is. I think the lad may deserve half a season to see what happens next year and then go from there. But again, it's like I said, I think it depends on what happens in these next 7 games. I think, you know, whether the fans stick or twist will be heard.
That'll be the key. We've got Bournemouth, Brighton, and West Ham at St James's Park. There are 3 games that we should be winning.
Yeah,
And,
should be.
And
And I think that's it, isn't it?
I'm guilty here of joining the voices and the players' heads, maybe even. You know, when the players go, because we've seen time and again this season when we've played top teams, in inverted commas, you know, the usual suspects, they're up for the game. When we play the likes of, and forgive me for using that expression, the likes of Bournemouth, the lesser lights, if you like, the not stellar names, the ones who even I think, yes, we should be beating them, really. And we haven't. That's the problem.
Mm.
And if you look at any one of those games individually, what you find is that you can go through the team, and obviously we've had a lot of individual errors that have been very, very costly.
Massive. Yeah,
You know, 26 goals conceded in the last 10 minutes, and I would reckon probably 20 of them are down to individual or
Errors.
You know, more than one individual error at the same time, simultaneously. So, you know, Eddie Howe doesn't miss sitters. Eddie Howe doesn't miss tackles. That's, once the players cross that line, it's down to them.
Yeah.
Are you saying they've missed those tackles or slipped because they didn't have full faith in Eddie Howe? I don't think you can say that. It's just football, isn't it?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the fact that it's happened so often, it's just you can understand why people are getting upset.
Cheers, Amrit. Yeah, I mean, listen, that's what I
Christina,
said.
we think you're great.
Yeah, cheers, Amrit. I mean, that's what I said. Listen, the two of them are just passionate Newcastle fans, and this, you can see it all in the chat. Like I say, we are going to look, and you know, I can understand why people. I mean, I've just been questioned there about if you give Eddie another chance, and then they do sack him, are they left with the same? You know, another manager coming in that doesn't want this team, and that's what I'm saying. You know, at what point do the board make a decision? And that's what I said. There's fors and against, whichever way you go. A new manager could come in. He's still got to work with 3/4 of this squad. Even if 8 players go, you've still got to replace them with the right players, the right type of breed, if you like, the right mentality. And for me, you know, that's what I said. I'd be happy with either way. You know, if the board decide to make a change, then make a change wholesale. Make it happen at the end of the season. But if Eddie Howe does manage to squeeze into a European place, I mean, I made a guess, if you like, because that's all it is. It's a guess that we will finish 8th. Now, that still could be good for Conference League, but that may not be good enough for Eddie Howe. That's what I'm saying.
It could be good enough for Europa League. 7th could be good enough for Conference League. For Champions League.
For Champions League. Yeah, exactly. Depends on how it goes, isn't it? You know, and that's what I said. I mean, it's the position as we speak in the league at the moment. There's far too much can happen between now and the end of the season for us to do, you know, to go and say, just get rid of him now. Let's just be a bit patient and see where we are.
Let's have a look.
But I appreciate what you say. Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's have a look at some start chats, guys, because there's some good stuff in here. Good enough to do things he's already done, or is winning the league the target? The club have to back him if they want better results. We need a management team to sign good players, says
Hopefully we've got that now. Melus, yeah.
And why is that not coming up? There we go. In Eddie, I'm Eddie in, even if we finish 12th. I think give him one more chance to see how he starts next season. Get a successful window this time. Transfers have not been easy with a rat rushing and then having to the rat leaving and having to rush and sign new players, which is what to me has been the major problem this season.
But again, you talk. Let's just harp onto that one, because I think that is really good. We'll come to Becker's in a minute. The problem is the fact that I don't think Eddie Howe does himself any favours when he buys these £60 million forwards and then plays them in midfield. And again, it's a case of he's looking at his game per se and trying to fit him in to a system that Eddie Howe wants to play. And sometimes he's looked great. Sometimes he's looked a little bit ordinary. And again, you look at what Germany do internationally, and they play him up top, and he looks like a decent player again. And his comments, and again, forgive me, I'm sure Connor says he looked like Voldemort had thrown him under a bus with some of his comments that come back from his international games. And when I read them, if I'm honest with you, I didn't think it come back that bad. It was more of him saying, like, I'm still a player learning to play in a position, and it's opening the game up a little bit more for me. And again, you've got to try and read it for what he's trying to say. I think obviously with Voldemort it's difficult because he's trying to do what the gaffer's asking him to do, and I don't think you've seen the best out of Voldemort. But I certainly haven't seen, post his first half a dozen games, the best of Voldemort up top in the Eddie Howe system. And to me, it seems it doesn't matter what Eddie Howe has tried to do this season, it's been a bit of a problem, adjusting the system, trying to adjust the players to play this system that Eddie Howe likes. And again, I have to keep reiterating Eddie Howe's name, because it's him that's making these tactical decisions. And sometimes it does look a bit square peg in round holes.
With regard to Walter Mortar, I was watching Walter Mortar way before we signed him, a year before we signed him.
Yes, you said that, yeah.
And you're literally, apart from the odd game, you're watching them, you're just watching YouTube clips. I didn't think from the YouTube clips, and I'd watched lots of them, to me, he looked a bit nippy. Seeing him in the flesh, nippy is the one thing that he ain't. And, now our scouting system shouldn't be using purely YouTube clips, obviously. They should have more information than that. But I've seen, very, very quick feet with the ball, but his actual movement is much more ponderous than I believed it was when I was looking at him and excited to get him.
He's great with space, and you don't get space in the Premier League.
That's the truth.
And I think that is the biggest problem. He's still got to learn the Premier League. Thanks. Let's have a look at Amrit's. Okay, what position do we finish? And consequences. Well, like I said, according to the article that I quickly read, and again, it was a very quick, brief read. It was more the fact that they don't want to be playing on a Thursday night in Bratislava. Well, I mean, I've just put Bratislava in there.
Well, I don't want to go to Bratislava. I want to go to Kairat and Reykjavik and the Faroe Islands.
And that's what I said. He blows certain frocks up. He blows your frock up, obviously, because we go into different places, different parts of Europe. But obviously, the PIF aren't very interested in that. They don't see the money in that. And I totally agree with that. It's been great, the fact that we've got this training ground sponsor that's coming our way, which is brilliant. And like I say, it's been brilliant news regarding some of that. I just think if Eddie Howe has to achieve anything this year, I think Europa, by the sounds of it, seems to be the minimal acceptance. If you draw a line in the sand, and even that just seems a little bit, by what you read, a failure in PIF's eyes. They want to be competing at the top. And again, it's what you expect. If they want to be European giants in 2030, and again, it's all talk, we need to start seeing action. And like I say, we just need to start seeing this person produce something from the team that he's got. Like I said, players now are starting to say that they're leaving. I'm going to come to Matt Targett's comments very soon. We know Trippier's going, and like I say, great servant to the club, and I certainly wish him all the best wherever he tries. I mean, we know that Fabian Schär has still not agreed a contract. He wants more time than apparently the club are offering. So is Schär the next one to disappear?
Oh, don't say that to Tina.
Well, I know, yeah, exactly. But it's like I said, it's conversations that these guys have to have. And again, is it right to start moving the elder statesmen on and bring younger flesh into the club? Somebody who can excite. I was looking back, at ASM the other day. Somebody had sent me a video of ASM's best bits. It lasted all of 3 minutes. But no, I'm joking. There were certain games where I thought he was very, very exciting. He was one of them players that could take a player on. The problem was he didn't have a team around him. He was one of very few, but he didn't have an end product. And I think, what would ASM bring you today in our current squad?
I have a weird reason why I love ASM, by the way. So do you remember when the whole takeover thing was just about to start happening? It was his social medias that I was watching, and there was the morning, funny enough, that the actual takeover did go ahead. He woke up and he literally just looked like he just woke up, grabbed his phone, he was just like, "Good morning, everyone," like really, really happy. And that's when I was like, oh, he knows something's happened here. And then unfortunately within like a few months of that he was gone. But yeah, he was a very, very exciting player. The type of player who I've always loved, somebody with some silky skills. People will mention his end product, but he never shied away from trying to give us an end product. And yeah, no.
He kept going,
the other thing I would say about ASM, is he should have had an awful lot more assists than he got.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what we had up top at the time, wasn't good enough. I'm talking specifically when Wilson was injured, which he was most of the time, as we know.
I've just seen Brian Penny in the chat that he's apparently he's linked. Trippier's linked to Coventry. I'd heard that, but I don't know how true it was. Thanks for sharing that one, Brian. So let's get on to what our mate was asking then when he threw the chat in. Mr. Singh, where do you think then? What do you believe? Now, I say 8th. I said 8th in January. I think that's where Newcastle have the potential of being. What's your thoughts? And does that create consequences at the end of it?
What do you reckon, Tina? Where do you think we're going to finish?
I think obviously, depending on where PIF are stood, any position lower than they envision us being is going to have consequences. Where do I think we'll finish? I think definitely top half of the table. I think somewhere between 10th and 7th might be realistic. I don't want to be any much too more optimistic than that, because you know me. I'm sitting here just thinking I'm going to say 5th, but I'm going to rein it back a little bit just to try to not be too happy clappy.
I'm saying 5th.
I would certainly take 5th.
By the way, that's Amrit who, when you were away, said, "Christina, we think you're great."
I saw it, and thank you very, very much for that super chat, Ahmed. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I think if this team has any future as it is right now, under Eddie Howe, then we will finish somewhere between 5th and 8th at the lowest. And the reason for that is because the one thing that we've always said about this team this season is there's injuries, there's tiredness, and Eddie Howe is not getting enough time on the pitch, on the training ground with them. And now he's had a good long break. And fair enough, there was a lot of players who were away on international duty, but there are some very vital players in the team who have managed to have a rest, who were starting to look a little bit leggy, and we've had an extra week on teams who are still in the cup competition. So now we've had a rest, we've got a lot of good players coming back. It's, Bruno's definitely on the periphery. Miley should be on the periphery as well. Fabian Scher very hopefully coming back to give me a nice early birthday present. Or well, it'll be late birthday present, but never mind. And we're going to have just the league to concentrate on. So if we can't turn this around now in these last 7 games, then a lot of the worries that a lot of the people who have been anti-Eddie for the rest of the season may need to come up and may need to be spoke about quite seriously by people at the club. Is there a chance that it all still goes wrong? There is, definitely, and that would be an alarm bell. There's another discussion, though. If we do turn this around now and we finish in the top 6, just as a random number, if we now finish that because of the situation we've got for these last 7 games, the conversation still just has to be had about, well, yeah, Eddie Howe can do this when we've got 1 game per week. How do we get him or the team to a point where we can do this and compete for the cups that we so desperately want to compete for, and that the club have already said by 2030 is very solidly our goal?
But can I answer that? Because the thing is, what we have to do in order for the 2 games a week not to affect us so much, and Boaky will say, I said we had the best squad we've ever had, but that's the key. You have to have a big enough squad to handle all of those games, but not just big enough. It has to still have the quality so that the drop off is not, off a cliff between what's on the bench and what's on the pitch. And again, I think the only way to do that, which is very, very difficult, is to bring in players who are quote unquote first team ready. And that's tough, because we've got some very good players. At least we think we have.
Well, I'm going to say, we've seen some very good players, but that's what I'm saying. It's been such a different season this season to see these players start well or end well. We've not had continuity throughout 90 minutes too many times. We've had a couple of games where we look brilliant.
We have had one consistency, which is that for the first 20 to 35 minutes of most games this season, we have looked like the best team on the planet. However, for those following, for the following part of the game, we have at times looked like the worst team on this planet. So if we could can we just pass a rule? Like, if PIF got enough stroke, we could just say, okay, after 20 minutes, that's the end of the game. We all go home.
Exactly.
Newcastle
We all
win
go
2-0.
home. Exactly. That should be good. I just want to say congratulations, if I'm honest with you. Newcastle under 15s have won the Orange Veins Cup in Rotterdam after beating PSG on penalties in the final this afternoon, just 1 week after winning the Premier League international tournament at Cobham. So, like I say, they are...
The under 15, we're starting to get the academy
at
the under 15 level.
Well, I said you've got to look for.
Up to scratch, which can only be a good thing. But obviously, we're not going to see the fruits of that for
no.
But
that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, we keep going over the problem with the academy and Newcastle is the fact that we haven't got the riches of the bigger clubs when it comes to academies, and we are, like I say, narrowed down. But I still think there was a potential to see a couple of the young ones at least take some of the pressure off the lads certain times this season. I think there was an opportunity that Eddie Howe just failed to get sorted. But well done to the under-15s, because I think that's been a big step this season for those boys. Let's move on, because like I say, time is a little bit against us. So let's have a look at some, again, talk about box office signings, because Hopkinson, again, he wants a box office signing this summer, but reminded fans it might need a big sale to fund it, just like the 130 million Isaac deal, which obviously was a very good deal.
And that's where he said... risk, though? Like, if I mean, fair enough, we all love a massive signing. I'm sure everybody here very much remembers exactly where they were when they found out we'd signed Alan Shearer. And everybody loved it when we signed, the Bruno and Tonali. We were all happy about that. And we love box office signings. Is it a bit... Does it take the shine off a little bit if we need to sell our previous box office signings to bring in a new box office signing? And if so, is that going to be the case every season where... Okay, we've got this great signing, now we can get excited for another good signing, but we need to get rid of last season's good signing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a bit of a horrible little cycle to be in, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think that this is where Newcastle have got to start flipping players. I've spoken many a time about the right time to sell on, and it's that 2-year mark on the contract. It's where you get the right money for them, and you're not losing that much of the player. If you like, because if you can go like for like on a replacement, and I think that's where Newcastle have to be savvy now. I don't think they were very good in the window just gone. I think there's been far too... I don't want to say flops, because that's not fair on the lads. Like I said, it's been a difficult time at Newcastle per se. And maybe they was asked to run, hit the ground running a little bit too fast, if I'm honest with you. But I certainly think, for me, they have to be good at flipping these players now. They have to be in line with the market, if you like, get true market value for the players, as you've just said, Tina, our good players, and bring in players that will bring that hunger back. It's no good having players of the Tonali, the Bruno, the Tinos, if you like, the Anthony Gordons, if their mind's elsewhere. Because, yes, you've still got a name on a badge, but you've just got a name if he's not willing to give you the commitment that Newcastle need to reach the goals at the end. So I think, like I said, with the Tonali links and everything else, we've seen how many clubs that are interested in Tonali these days. Same with Trippier, Tino. The same with Anthony Gordon now seems to be rife. Seems to have backed off a little bit regarding Bruno. Thankfully, I don't think Bruno will go anywhere. I think he will commit himself to the club. But in the likes of Tonali, I think we've got to just make. We certainly don't. I did listen to what you guys were talking about in the previous shows, where you were saying we don't need another Isak situation where it just prolongs the agony, if you like. Are you going or aren't you going? And again, I wanted to get to this point because it made me giggle a little bit. Ugarte has been linked with Newcastle from Manchester United. Now, we know there's been a very interesting conversation. A lot of the press have been reporting that there've already been talks between representatives of Manchester United and Tonali's agents. And they're very interested, but they haven't got the funds, I don't think, to match what PIF have now. But before I've again briefly read the asking price of the likes of Tonali, Gordon, and Tina. You're talking a couple of £100 million for those three players. Now, it's something that you can't just sniff at. I mean, I think in today's prices, I don't think you'd be far wrong of saying upwards of £90 million for Tonali in today's market. I think that would be of equal saying. But the conversation that I had today on the way back home was very strange because it seems as though they're willing to put Ugarte in the frame with a little bit of cash. So it'll be Ugarte coming our way with cash.
A little bit of cash.
Obviously, and then Tonali going the other way. And I just wanted your thoughts on that. And I'm going to put this to you guys out there in the chat as well, because like I said, these type of deals don't happen these days. Player exchanges just don't seem to happen. But do we now get to that point where, a player, I don't think Ugarte is too bad of a player. Is it the fact that you're not seeing the best out of him at Manchester United? Potentially. That place has been a bit of a graveyard for any player, if I'm honest with you. So what's your thoughts on this? Do you think that there's some truth behind it? Ugarte could come in place of Tonali with some money?
Well, I've seen more of Ugarte playing for Man U than obviously with Sporting or with PSG. PSG thought there was a player there, moved him on for a loss. There was definitely a player at Sporting, but again, you're talking Portuguese league. Into the French league, comes into the Prem and doesn't pull trees up. Because the Premier League is a hard league. And you know, you get all of the arguments about buying Premier League proven players. And, you know, we've been very, very successful, very lucky, you might say, since the takeover, in that the players we've bought have by and large all paid off from abroad. Possible exception at the minute is Baltimore. You know, the jury's still out. But I've got every faith that he can come good once we learn to play with him. Or once he learns, more to the point, once he learns to play with us.
Yeah. Absolutely. What's your thoughts, Tina?
See, this is a really strange one for me because Ugarte just happens to fit the exact profile of player that I've been screaming for all season. I mean, he's exactly the type of player that I feel like we need. Whether he's got the quality there is questionable. I mean, I saw him when PSG were interested in him, and he did look like a player that I want. And I was actually devastated when he went to Manchester United. Him and Xerxes, I'd kind of had an eye on Xerxes as well, because, you know, he's got a bit of that cheeky flair about him. And but the problem for me is that it surrounds Tonali. And Tonali is who I would probably say is the best midfielder I've seen play for Newcastle United, like on a live perspective. I know there's some that I've went back and watched from the past who are potentially better than him, but for football that I've actually been able to watch and experience myself, Tonali is one of the best players I've seen in my lifetime. So I wouldn't really want to lose him, but if he's deciding to go anyway, then money and swap for Ugarte could be... It's either going to work out to be the absolute masterclass that gives us the chance to become the team that I would like us to be. You've got a player who's going to sit there and do the duty that we need somebody to do in our midfield in that holding area. But he has not set the world alight at Manchester United. And there's a lot of players who are good players who have suffered at Manchester United, including, you know, Rasmus Højlund since he's moved on. He's been doing good. But is that because Manchester United are shackling these players, or is that because these players just are not ready for the Premier League? And there are some players who have came here. Hernan Crespo springs to mind. Nobody can doubt that Crespo is one of the greatest centre forwards that this planet has seen. But when he came in the Premier League, he wasn't exactly setting the world alight, was he? He wasn't anything. No. You could even probably put Andrei Shevchenko in there, and that's a shocker, because he is, you'd probably say, in the Mount Rushmore of European centre forwards over the past decade. And he came to the Premier League, and he just wasn't that player. So it's going to be a toss-up. If he's going to go anyway and we're going to need to bring in a player, we might as well get money and Ugarte, in my opinion. But I wouldn't say that with much confidence of, yes, that's going to be exactly what I've asked for. We're going to win the Premier League now. So okay, kind of on the fence again, I apologise.
What about the fact that Ugarte, as you've rightly said there, is very definitely a number 6?
Yeah, 100%. Exactly.
And Eddie very regularly says he doesn't want to play with a number 6.
But there is that. I mean, you've got to look. I mean, he's 24, right? So, you know, even though he's a name that seems to have been around a hell of a long time, the kid's only 24 years old. He is a defensive midfielder, so it is fitting that profile of being somebody who will be able to free up players around him. So, again, these are reports. Manchester United are willing to sell Ugarte this summer, and the player wants to leave for more consistent playing time elsewhere. Newcastle United are reportedly observing the situation with the possibility of a summer transfer. They value him at around about 40 million euros, which is around about 35 million pounds. So again, you know, if there was any movement the other way, Like I say, 5 days ago, even Aston Villa seemed to be literally knocking on the door and asking the questions. So I'm looking at different. Ovacion is one that's reporting this. Another one has been EL Pace. Again, I don't know. It's a Uruguayan outlet that seems to be tapping into all of these things. Team Talk seemed to be another one. And Caught Offside now have jumped on board with these reports. So, like I say, there's a number of reports out there
do you not think,
linking Newcastle.
Do you not think these offline report, one reports it,
and then the others jump on?
Even if there's no substance at all to the story, because one reports it, everybody else reports it, and then suddenly it becomes the whole of social media is saying the same thing. Yeah.
But it was really interesting because, like I say, when I stopped for a coffee on my way back home today, I was at Costas. Sorry, I was going to say Costco at Costas, and literally out of nowhere, I started talking to this guy who supposedly is some scout for Manchester United, and he was the one who brought this up. And I, like I said, I haven't really been involved in any football apart from, bless him, what Connor's been sending through my phone, which obviously gets to all the other guys. So you're just reading snippets, I'm not really looking into any details. So it wasn't until I actually got home, an hour before the show started, where I was having a bit of a deep dive. And it seems as if, like, what he was saying does have an element, I'm going to say a very small element of truth to it. But again, I don't know who this guy was. I'd never seen or heard of his name before. But obviously, I don't follow Manchester United. So I'm not going to say he's obviously live on air because he could have been Billy No Mates. I don't know. But it was just an interesting chat. Like I say, he seems to feel, and I'm going to say the word feel, as though there's a lot of truth behind the rumour. So let's see. I mean, Connor, bless him, he's just said Ugarte is now 5th choice at Manchester United. So, if he's not good enough for them, is he good enough for us?
Does Tonali
to go forward?
That's the bottom line.
Well, of course.
Tell you what I would take. Money plus Ugarte plus Menu. I'd take that for Tonali. That would be an answer to our questions. And I know they've not been fantastic at Manchester either than one of them because they haven't been given a chance. One of them, I mean, he plays behind, but I don't think they've ever really set up to have Ugarte. And if Eddie is going to stay as manager of this football team, this season's the one he has to learn from. And one thing to me that we've learned this season is that flat 8-8-8 in the centre of midfield. That's not a formation, by the way. I haven't gone crazy. I mean, the 3 8s in midfield that he seems to like to try to play has been found absolutely gaping holes behind them. And our defence of them being put in positions where they've made individual errors, which have cost us games, cost us points, cost us league positions, maybe even cost us trophies, although what are you going to do against Manchester City in this day and age? But the thing that you would have to learn from that surely is, okay, let's maybe try a number 6. Let's see if that shores up the defence a little bit and gives our more creative and attacking midfielders a bit more freedom to attack and create.
And there's some great names coming. Listen, I don't. Oh, crikey! Imagine I did the commentary on the Newcastle games. That's going to be some Mofokeng, Rela heel. Okay, that'll be an interesting one. Couldn't afford Manu, according to Brian. Like I say, I don't know how much truth there is in there. I did want to mention though. Again, I have to move on because we are literally 11 minutes towards the end of the first part of the show. We have to talk about Trips. Obviously, been an amazing servant for the club. Very emotional from the video that I watched. Literally, like I say, before we came on air. I think the time's right. If I'm honest with you, I think I'd rather him go out with his head held high. And again, I love the fact that he highlighted the fans for even, and admitted during his low points for the club. You know, he if you like, he put his arm up, he put his hands up and said, you know, I've not played brilliant at times, but I've still had the support of the fans. And I think that was an amazing touch. You know, obviously we've got Kraft going out the door as well, with Tino potentially leaving as well. It creates a massive hole in that right back situation. I don't want to see Miley being forced into that situation where he has to play right back. We've seen that with our number 9, our German number 9, being forced to play a midfielder role that he does. Obviously, he struggles to source. I'm not saying Miley couldn't do the job, but surely you need somebody who's got the ability to get up and down the field, and that's something that Miley will struggle with.
Well, we're going to need 2 right backs, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, well, losing Kraft, Trips, and potentially Tino.
Yeah.
You know, we're definitely going to need 1, and we're going to need 2. Boaky said this in the winter. You know, we're going to need them anyway. Why not buy them in the winter?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, depending on what Shahar does and how he develops going forward, but it doesn't seem very bright, the future of Shahar under Eddie Howe's mantle. So again, you have got to ask the question. You know, there's going to be a massive gap going forward, and like you say, these 8 players coming in, 2 of them have to be fullbacks. I'd love to see one variable, one that can play right back and left back, but they're very hard to find, and that's the thing. But I just wanted to say a massive mention to
Trips is on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I've seen that.
United.
Didn't look very much like him though, did it?
You can thank your eye for that. But,
exactly.
Trips is up there with another stranger that a lot of people wouldn't have on their Mount Rushmore, which is Kilclean, who did exactly what Trips did back in the day. You know, he came in and he galvanised that dressing room. And we went from a team that was all over the place to a team that was very, very, very difficult to beat, which is what we were when Trips was in his pomp. And bear in mind, he was a La Liga winner, and he came to join a club in a relegation fight, looking almost certainly doomed. Would we have got the rest of the players if he hadn't signed?
Just wanted to point out this one of Tony saying that we flip-flopping because we were all calling him out. And again, it's not flip-flopping. It's just speaking what you see. The lad has been a great servant to Newcastle. But again, there comes a time where you do have to start saying, is this level too much for you? And I think it is. I don't think he's that level of Premier League player. I'm not saying he couldn't play at the lower part of the Premier League. Like I said, if he does go to Coventry, and very much like they're going to get promoted, I'm not sure what the result is tonight. They're away at Hull. But I mean, again, you know, I think that would be a good leader at that type of club, because they have got a lot of young uns there as well. So, like I said, I think that would be perfect for him. Let's talk about Vlacho then, because, like I say, this has been an interesting one. You know, the Greek keeper, Vlachodimos, claims Newcastle didn't keep their word after his 24 move. He's only played once. Orgullo Biri outlets in Spain say Seville offered less than the 10 million valuation that Newcastle have turned down. They want £10 million for him, and they are only, I'm going to say that it's about £8.4 million, the €10 million, and Sevilla are saying they're not going to pay anywhere near that. And there's a consortium that is potentially going to take over Sevilla, and the only way that deal would ever get done is if the consortium actually gets in position. So for me, obviously what it cost Newcastle, which was around about the 20 million mark when you cross the T's and dot the I's. Do you think this is just poor management, or do you think it was obviously PSR's situation at the time just needed to be done? But does this also put a little bit, again, we talk about the Eddie Howe situation, and does it put a bit of a question mark now, because he's not the first player to call out the club under Eddie Howe's tenure about keeping promises, is he?
He's not the first goalkeeper for sure.
No, not at all.
It does bring up because I'm guessing that what he was promised was some first team football, going off the quote. And does this maybe give us an opportunity to not sign Ramsdale on his massive wages, sell Pope while there's still some value in there, have Vlachodimos, but then also go out there and try to find another goalkeeper? Because Vlachodimos this season has looked like a solid goalkeeper. Certainly as solid, I would say, in the games that I've seen him play for Seville as Pope and Ramsdale have been. And I do think Ramsdale's a much more commanding goalkeeper who does have something that we need in our goalkeepers, but I'm not sure on his wage demands for what he's actually bringing to the team. It is going to work out viable for us when these rules change, and we always need to keep somewhat of a look on PSR. But I wouldn't be adverse to bringing Vlachodimos back for a year.
Would he come back?
I don't think he would. No, he doesn't want to come back to England. Yeah, he doesn't want to come back to England. I think that's why he's trying to force his way out. He's doing, if I'm honest with you, he's doing another Isaac. He's doing another Rat. I think he's going to be the one. Well, yeah, exactly. I think there'll come a time where, enough is enough, and sometimes you're just going to have to swallow the loss. And like I say, when it comes to squad cost ratio,
I take back all the nice things that I said about him as well. I could have had a good year in goal for Seville. So yeah, go away, Vlachodimos. I'll finish with you. I've always loved Nick Pope as well.
No, Tony, I wasn't literally pointing the finger saying I was just saying I think sometimes you do have to look at Trippier as a whole, and become a little bit savvy on him. I wasn't pointing you out for that one, mate.
The Trips has had some rocky games this season. He's had some good games, but he's had some.
Well, it was Chelsea in the cup, and it all just seemed to unfold, wasn't it? When he made those glaring mistakes, and then it was game after game after that. It was a little bit poor. And again, yeah, exactly. Like I say, last 3 minutes.
Shocking.
And I just wanted to, we talk about we don't want to go back in history, but again, January 22, Trippier, Wood, Bruno, Byrne, Target, those signings laid the foundations, if you like. Now, Matt Target says he's done at the club and he's ready to move on. Now, sentiment aside, is that a sign of progress or polite rejection? Again, a player who struggled for injuries, did really well during his loan tenure when he was at Aston Villa player. But obviously, since he's come on board, there was a time where obviously he lost his place to even Dan Byrne because of his injury problems. So, again, he was happy for the loan move out to Middlesbrough. A lot of question marks during that winter window, whether he should have returned because of our problems in the fullback situation. But during that conversation, it just didn't happen. So, again, if you think of those players now, once Trippier goes, we've only got Bruno and Byrne left from that January 22 window, from that relegation-bound team at the time that are still with us. So I just wanted to take a little special mention and say, wherever he does, he's done us well. Same as Trippier, Wood's gone. All the best, whichever way you go. And obviously, like I say, there's lots of ways you can talk about this. The lads are here. In the background. So, like I say, thank you to yourself, Wyn, and Christina.
Hello.
And obviously, Boaky. Welcome on board, Chris. You're all good.
Boaky is knackered.
We are knackered.
Come on, man. Leave the fighting for me and Wyn, man. If you're amateurs at this, leave the fighting for me and Wyn. No, listen, we get passionate, we get shouty, we get debatey, if that's a word. But we're all a big...
now.
We're all a big happy family. But listen, Boaky will have to take the L on that one. We love Christina. She was right. And, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm usually right against Wyn. Not usually, to be nice, to be honest, but I'm always right. And there you go. So, anyways, guys, good to have you back, mate. Good that you're back. And,
thank you.
Miss you, of course,
lovely to be back. Talking all Newcastle. Like I say, it's been a bit of a blare, if I'm honest with you. Newcastle United over these last 2 weeks. Be glad to see some football action, I must admit. Looking forward to the weekend.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would tend to agree with Boaky that it's pretty much knackered this season anyway, but neither here nor there. We shall continue with that debate now.
Indeed.
From 9:30 to 11 p.m. Anyways, thank you very much, all of you out there. The early night show and the late night show, ladies and gents, starts right about now. Don't go anywhere. Smash that like button right now.
Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC Late Night Show with Chris the American Man, Derek the Mighty Wyn, and the rest of the panel, Monday through Thursday from 9:30 p.m. UK and UFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
We are live, ladies and gents. Don't forget to smash that like button. Do not go anywhere. You know how long it goes. We go into 11 p.m. UK to talk about the latest trending stories of Newcastle United. We are back. I miss you, man. I've been a while. I'm like, I'm just taking my time, man. I'm like, well, I got bigger fish to fry, man. You know. So, but lovely to have you all be back here again. Just to put it out there, thank you for the support on my last video that I did. A little bit of a rant about Newcastle United's double standards. And I was right. Newcastle didn't wish its Christian fans happy Easter. Shameful, to be honest. But, that's that. You can go watch that video if you want to on the channel. And there you go. So, double standards, of course, in this day and age. But regardless, we shall continue then with the late night show. Jamie's in the house as well. Iain, Tim, and the mighty... And we got to bleep now, thanks, man. I'm getting tired of this bleeping. Anyways, how are you, fellas? Chris in jail. Why do I got to be in jail? Anything to be in jail. Newcastle we should put the Newcastle logo there and put them in jail for the whole show. Anyways, happy Easter to everyone.
Well,
Jamie,
Newcastle and every other Premiership team as well. That was only Fulham, wasn't it?
No. Fulham acknowledged Good Friday, which don't have to, but you could acknowledge. Only Liverpool, as far as I know, only Liverpool, proper team. I'm not talking about, Exeter or, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about that. Proper team, they acknowledge Easter with a proper cross and everything. The rest of the clubs did egg. They were doing the whole clown show with eggs and chocolates and all that crap. They don't do that with any other religion, to say the least. They properly do acknowledge their fans for those particular religions. But when it comes to Easter, we throw eggs and balloons and party like it's a joke, but neither here nor there. Anyway, Jamie, do you have a good Easter? Family over?
I don't feel great though after, there's a lot of chocolate lying around.
Oh, man. What did you eat though? You guys, I'm assuming if you celebrate Easter over there, like a good, historically based Christian country, you would have a feast out. I'm assuming. You got the balloon bread. I'm assuming you got to bring out the balloon bread for Easter, man.
What's balloon bread?
Yorkshire puddings.
Come on, man.
Yorkshire puddings, Jamie.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that what balloon bread is?
Balloon bread, aye.
Yeah, it's literally a balloon full of air. It's a balloon full of air.
Right. So are you having proper Yorkshire puddings? Because that is not going to make you popular, mate. There's some things you just don't touch when you're talking to British people,
All I'm saying is it ain't what it's advertised to be. It's nothing but you poke it and it just deflates, man. Like Mighty Wyn's private life. You just poke it and it just deflates. What's that, Jamie? The frown fium. What is that?
The town.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, we got that. But, I hope that's not because I'm sticking up for Yorkshire puddings, mate. Because I did have them as it happens. Had them with the last yesterday. So, but my wife's version definitely don't disappear with one card.
Yeah, there you go.
Carry on, isn't it?
Shout out to Tim's mom. Tim and Peter are heathens, unfortunately, but Tim's mom and Peter's mom, she's a proper Christian woman. So, did you have dinner with your mom? I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah. You can't beat mother's Sunday dinner, and Yorkshire pudding. And I'm with Jamie, you can't really beat those,
What about the little hockey puck, the little black thing? What's that called?
Black pudding.
Black pudding, are you on about? Don't be starting on black pudding, mate. That's not part of the roast dinner either. That's a fried breakfast.
I'm not
Oh, is that
massively
part of the
keen on
breakfast?
that, to be honest. Anyway, like it's alright, but I don't love that.
Give that away.
It's not bad. It's good. I'm not gonna lie. English breakfast. I'm talking about just like the breakfast from England, not the name of it, which is the same thing, really. Is one of the best breakfasts you can eat out there in the world. I'm telling you, it's well cooked and well distributed. You got the little black hockey puck. You got they got the sausages are good. The fried eggs are good. Sunny side up. Beans, man, that's some good stuff, man. I'm telling you, it's some good stuff. So, I guess if you're Scottish, you eat some what's that, haggis? Is that what it's called? Haggis, for Easter, that's proper haggis.
Yeah,
but is that like food like to eat in a big day like that, or is it just
no, haggis is a meal in itself. You don't need haggis with anything. Well, nips and tatties, obviously, but
yeah. But would you eat that for Christmas dinner? Would you eat that for? That's what I'm saying. Would you eat that for Easter?
No.
Would you eat that?
I mean, you can do what you like.
They're easier to shoot, Chris. They're easier to shoot in the winter when the leaves are off the trees. So it depends when you catch them or when you can eat them.
Yeah, they have 3 legs, one shorter than the other for running up mountains.
Yeah, no, I'm telling. But listen, all I can think of
Chris, I'm a big fan of the English breakfast. However,
of course,
I still dream the 2 summers in the early 90s when I went across for a little driving trip to the States about a stack and some crispy bacon and 2 eggs smothered in maple syrup. That's a breakfast.
There you go.
Sweet sausages.
No, I cannot do with the maple syrup on a fried breakfast. Like I must admit.
You ever had them American?
It makes it.
The American sausage patties. They're amazing, man. Especially the ones that come from McDonald's.
Yeah, the square, yeah.
No, but they're not square. They're round. They're circle. But they're amazing.
McDonald's breakfast, I think.
Yeah. We're getting carried away with food, man. But man, I'm starving right now. I haven't eaten all day. It's 3:30 p.m. in the U.S. I'm knackered.
We are knackered.
But I have to talk about Newcastle United, of course. So we got game day now coming up. It's Sunday, all the way until Sunday, to be fair. But we're back. How come La Liga played this weekend? How come a lot of leagues are playing this weekend, by the way? And what's going on? Why the Premier League?
We always used to. Good Friday and Easter Monday was traditionally derby days. We used to play the 2 derbies, either Good Friday and Easter Monday, or Saturday before Christmas and Boxing Day.
Well, that might lead us.
They were traditionally the 2 derby days.
Is this
today, Good Friday and Easter Monday in
and
England,
Easter Monday,
we've had a full football league program. Championship, Division 1, Division 2, National League. It's only the Premier League because it's a week. It's actually the FA Cup weekend. That's why the Premier League.
I think if we dig for answers, we might have
too many left in the round 6.
I think if we dig for answers, we might dig ourselves into another hole. Is it to why there's no Easter games anymore? But I mean, what do you think, Jamie? I mean, 3 weeks. Well, it's not. How long has it been? 3 weeks? 2.5 weeks or something like that.
It's because Easter's very late this year, and you've got like the Champions League and semi-finals coming up and stuff, and they wouldn't have wanted a congested fixture list because European football governs everything. So what they've done is that yes, it's been the FA Cup, but they also had that weekend set aside if it was feasible to replay any cancelled games, and I don't think there's been a single postponement in the Premier League this year. So I think, it's crazy late. What's the date now? It's not normally in April, is it? So what you might find is I have no idea when it is next year, but if it goes back to being mid-March, maybe we do have those 2 games because Wyn's right, there was always 2 games in very quick succession over Easter weekend, but that thing about the back-to-back derbies, I don't remember. That must be from the interwar years or something like that.
It wouldn't be the first time Wyn line on live air, but
is that like Sunderland at home and then Sunderland away?
Yeah.
So that's got to be pre-war stuff, isn't it? Playing Sunderland twice.
Oh, you're knackered, man. Wait, come on, man. Stop lying, man. Look, so what do you guys make of it? I mean, Trippier has announced that he's going to be leaving Newcastle United. What do you guys... Let's start with that. I mean, it's pretty big news. I wish I would have been able to talk about that when I made my video, but I got upset about other things that matter to me, and so I had to talk about other things. But by the way, I'm no longer a royalist. I give up my. I'm not a royalist no more. I want my independence, so I'm all for it.
Oh yeah,
Let's get it done.
starting
Yeah,
on
no,
that
I'm not. After what I saw, after what happened this weekend, I'm no longer a royal, man. I'm done. I'm done with that. And well, I've never been a royal. I mean, I'm not a royalist anymore. But so Trippier out. Trippier's gone. Oh wait, but not gone. He's gonna be leaving. What do you guys make of that? What does that mean? I read a comment on the negative side of things, of course, that we wait for old players to leave as opposed to making sure it happens in time. What do you guys make of that? I mean, you know, it's you can have one player like that. You can't have a whole squad of old players that don't want to leave, but one player you can have, I think. What do you guys make of Trippier wanting to already announcing that he's gone? Wyn, what do you think?
Well, I just wish him well. You know, I think we've had the best out of him. He's definitely on the wane. And what we've done badly in the past is been bad sellers, hanging on to players too long. You could maybe argue we hung on to him a year too long. You know, if we could have got the 12 million or whatever. Personally, I don't think we did. But definitely, you know, time to go. And thank you very, very much for your service, because like I've seen earlier on there, he's on my Mount Rushmore of Newcastle United players.
Man, Mount Rushmore. Wow, that's interesting.
I don't think we would be where we are now without Trips having joined.
I mean, Mountain Rushmore of Newcastle United players. That's 4 players in the whole entire history of Newcastle United. I think I might want to hold off on that.
In 63 years that I've been going.
Dude, first of all, sorry, Tim, cutting your time off there, man, but you know, you got Balanchier, you got Jackie Milburn, you got the Chin, you got, you know, you got so many players that you Trippier you're gonna choose. Okay, that's fine, man. Tim, what do you think on Trippier leaving the team at the end of the season?
I mean, just quickly, like, I don't know what your tipping point was with the royal family, Chris. Like, but I think it's been quite a few in recent times. So I don't know.
Oh no, my tipping, no, man, my tipping. The king, what is it called? The head of the church or something like that? The king of the church or whatever the hell you call it over there.
The Archbishop of Canterbury.
No, the king. What's the king? One of his titles. Is he not the head of the church?
Yeah.
The Church of England.
The Church of England. Yeah.
There you go. I ain't gotta say nothing else, man. Tim.
So that's very American. That hurt you more than somebody being in the Epstein files, because we know that don't bother you anymore.
Well,
no,
but I can't worry about Andy. Andy's knackered, man. He ain't got nothing to say, and that's not Andy Vale, by the way. Just letting you know. Tim.
I mean, Charles was linked with somebody else as well, but I'll leave it there.
That was back in the day.
Yeah, so we'll go back to trivia.
That would fix it.
Jesus. So Trippier, what a legend. Yeah, I think he is a legend, and I think, you know, you can't underestimate the value of him coming to Newcastle when he did, because he kicked off the revival, didn't he, when we were at our lowest ebb, and it looked like we were destined for relegation. And yeah, he came in, was superb when he came in, then got injured. But by all accounts, behind the scenes, was still leading the lads, you know, rallying the troops and stuff. And then the following season was like pivotal to us getting 4th place. And obviously he's had mixed games since then. But I think his leadership has been constant in terms of like getting on the lads, motivating the team, and just trying his best all the time, you know, putting 110% in every time he wears the shirt. And yeah, I think as well, when you look at times last season and this season, you know, people have wrote him off and thought he's done. And he's came back, and everyone's like, oh, look at Trippier, he's got a new lease of life. and that happened last season. It happened this season. So yeah, just like I think he's top class, and like I said, top class professional for the team, and it probably is the right time. It probably is. I mean, part of us wouldn't have been averse, to giving him one more year. Not to start every game, but just to be a squad player. But if he wants to play more games, then obviously he's got to go because we need to get a new right back in if Tino's going to go. So, yeah. Did you see what happens with Shahar as well? Because he could have been somebody you could have brought in and Trippier could have kind of nurtured before now, but obviously that hasn't happened. But yeah, it just means that we have to sign potentially 2 right backs, doesn't it? So, big summer.
Yeah. Very good points there. Iain,
just out of interest, I wasn't going crazy, but it wasn't as often as in 1967 we played them on Boxing Day, and then 4 days later on December the 30th in League Division 1, home and away within 4 days, 2 games within 4 days. So that must be the ones
That's like 20 years before I was born. So I was
Boxing Day is always
Christmas present for anyone.
Yeah.
Boxing Day has always been a thing, man. I don't know what you're trying to create there, but Christmas as well, right? I mean, Christmas. What is it? Usually, no, it's not. When is it on Christmas time?
Yeah, what I'm saying is we played them on Boxing Day and then 4 days later. Boxing Day at the park,
like
and 4 days
days
later,
after Christmas, something like that.
McNamee on the crossbar in the 3-3 draw.
Right. Anyways, thank you for rudely interrupting Iain's take. Iain, what do you think, mate?
My take on trips. Yeah, I agree with Tim. We've tried writing them off. We've assumed he's getting past it, and actually, we're saying, Eddie, you've got to rotate. You're playing him every week, but that's what he thrives on. He thrives on that rhythm, he says. And when he's come back from his injuries, it's true. After 2 or 3 games, he's back up to speed again. A real shot on the arm when he first joined, 3rd of January or something it was, because when Eddie first got in, we did struggle a bit. I think we just beat Burnley and we got a few more draws, but we were limping out of relegation till Trippier started, and then that was really the galvanising moment. I know we lost against Cambridge in the FA Cup, but it was win away at Leeds after that, and whenever I look back that season, finishing in 11th, and Trips, yeah, he got injured in it, but he was there galvanising it and giving everyone the belief because Trippier, England international Trippier, had come from Champions League side Atletico Madrid and joined Newcastle, and I think that just enlivened everything. And he's been a great servant. Yeah, I think there's 160 odd games he's played, which isn't bad in 4.5 years if you do the averages.
Yeah.
I think it's the right time for him to go, for sure. If he's got aspirations to play somewhere else or take a different sort of role on, he says he's still got a lot of years of football left in him. But I think he's a realist and thinks that he can be an influence at a team at a slightly lower level. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to Burnley maybe when they're trying to bounce back from the Championship next year.
That's an interesting one. I think Shea could do a great. I think Shea could do a Kilcline for somebody. Either get them out of the Championship and get them up, or stave off relegation for somebody at the bottom.
Fabi. I think we want Fabi back from injury and playing next year, do we not?
Well, that's the $94 million question, isn't it? Is he going to be back to his best? I don't think Fab's ever had a real proper injury before. He's been out with a concussion a couple of times, but
he can't be asked to be the main guy no more. That's Chow's job. That's Botman's job. If he's healthy, that's Burns' job, if you will, on that side. But he can't be. It's just you just got to move on. I mean, not move on, but if he's going to stay on the team, you just got to, it is what it is. I mean, they have to realize as well that they're getting on, and the club has to make decisions. But Jamie, what are your thoughts on Trippier leaving? Do you put him in your Mountain Rush more of all-time players?
It's time for him to move on. Yeah, it has been for a while. I think keeping him this season was probably a good idea rather than spending money on a right back. But we couldn't have seen Livramento being as injured as much as he has been, or even maybe playing as many games as we have played. And you've got to bear in mind as well that Kraft has been nowhere to be seen all season. He's had constant injuries, so he can't help out. So he's maybe played more than we would have liked. But when you look back on Kieran Trippier, you've got to talk about what the guy said. One of the most transformative signings, not just of this era, but in Newcastle United's history. This whole period, and this season, I think we can all agree, has been a downer. And we'll not have particularly good memories of this. But when you look back on Kieran Trippier, you've got to forget that and look at what he did offer. He was the most important person. You could maybe make a case for Bruno, but I think Trippier, the way he transformed the attitude in the squad, got us out of the relegation struggle. He was a fantastic captain to take us to the Champions League. And there was talk of selling him in the January of 24, I think, but it was worth keeping him for the Carabao Cup final. If that had been the only game he'd played in the last 2 years, it would have been worth it. Trippier with drift. In goes Burn. Assisted our first goal in a major final in, I don't remember how many years, since maybe 1969. And a fantastic player for the club, but it is time for him to go. The problem we've got here is we need so many players. We need a monster in midfield. We need a goalkeeper. We definitely need a new right back, maybe two. We need a striker. So some of the other guys who you're talking about there, like Shea, Byrne, Pope, Joe Linton, maybe Jacob Murphy, who people might say move them on. You probably need to keep them to be squad players. But what we need to do with this summer is make it so they're not starters every week. They're not playing 30 and 40 games a season, but all those guys have got a couple of years on Kieran Trippier. I would give Fabian Schär a year's extension, but none of you will be shocked at that, I'm sure. But I wouldn't want him to be a regular starter. I'd want him to be there for the Carabao and for emergencies. So we're going to have a few guys like that. But Trippier, we say thank you and goodbye, and I will only look back on the good times. I think the Mount Rushmore thing, it's maybe a bit extreme, but he's got to be, number one, he's the best right back I've ever seen for Newcastle. He gets in the proper 11 as the best right back. And number two, I think he's in the conversation about some of the best signings we've ever made. So, yeah, I wish him no but the best in the MLS or Saudi or potentially appearing on a reality TV show. I'm not really sure what he'll do.
It might happen.
I mean, do you think would we have got Bruno if we hadn't signed Trips?
Yeah,
domino effect, isn't it?
Yeah, of course you would. I mean,
we signed Trippier, and then
I try to keep my cool.
I don't know if I'm over the top about it, but you know we beat Leeds at Ellen Road.
Yeah.
I don't know if that result was a major factor in it. And like that got us within touching distance of getting out of the relegation zone, because they won the next home game in which Trippier scored a free kick against Everton, and that got us out of the relegation zone. So we were very, very close when Bruno signed. But I don't know, maybe not without Trippier. He set the ball rolling, didn't he?
Certainly did, for me.
Yeah, but I mean, Bruno's not joining.
His influence in the dressing room as well, I think, his attitude and...
as a leader, of course. As a leader.
Rubbing off on the other players.
As a leader, of course, but to attract players to come in, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Bruno didn't grow up thinking of Trippier was a star in the world to say, oh my God, let me go play with him.
No, but he might have looked at Newcastle and said, my God, they're signing a La Liga winner, an current England.
Oh, wait, get out of there. Trippier, man, we love you, mate. You're a wonderful servant. But come on, man, you're making it seem like we signed Cafu, man. For God's sake, relax, man. Yeah, it's with everything that's happened. Of course, he's great. But as far as you saying, the other players came in because of Trippier. Yeah,
I'm just
I don't know.
saying, would they, if they turned us down, would they have come?
I mean, they may have still came potentially, but I think Trippier coming when he did, it set a really good kind of
seal of approval
to the world in terms of
project.
like this. Yeah, this team. I mean, we were second bottom, and we were not looking good. So I think for any player, with any reputation, with any quality, to sign for us, then it was a massive risk. Because if that Leeds game had been lost, my word, I'm not sure it would have came back. We were skating on such thin ice. So, like, I think for Trippier to come, it did just say to the world, look, there's players who were willing to go to Newcastle, who believe in quote the project. So yeah, Bruno might have came anyway, but it was just a nice kind of domino effect, wasn't it? When then he came, and then obviously we've got others in. And it was saying, right, we're serious about this. And obviously, within a month, it looked so much better.
Right. So we do have to shift to, I guess you can say the biggest story of the day, which has to do with Vlachodimos. And apparently he's angry that Newcastle broke promises to him. This is written by the Chronicle, according to Mighty Wyn. But mainly something that we posted on social media today, that according to Spanish outlet Orgullo Biri, Sevilla wants to make Newcastle's number 31-year-old goalkeeper Vlachodimos his loan move a permanent deal this summer. The report states that Newcastle will demand around 10 million euros for the Greek international, and talks are reportedly ongoing over a deal. So, obviously, when it comes to the PSR thing, I know we couldn't sell them this past window, but so selling them in the summer, how is that gonna affect, if anything, our, the PSR move that we made?
He's still standing us about 11 million quid on the books.
So we had to make.
So if we sell him for less than 11 million, it goes down.
We are knackered.
It's a loss.
Yeah.
Whereas if he stays on loan, it's not a loss.
Of course, but the thing is, surely 11 million is not a lot for a guy like him. So,
well, I think it is.
They think but it's 11 million. I mean, what else you want for a goalkeeper? I mean, what do you guys think? I'm going to dig into the broken promises thing that he's talking about. He certainly is not happy in England. Wasn't happy in England. He was vociferous when saying that England is just not a country for him. So he certainly doesn't like the black hockey puck. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like
Doesn't like the rain.
He doesn't like the rain. So if you go compare, Sevilla is a proper place, man, to live. Come on,
Well,
so
even Sevilla's cool compared to Greece.
I mean, well, there you go. But he was very, very adamant that he hates England as much as Di Maria's wife when they came to Man United. And so what do you guys make of that? I mean, but what if they didn't want to pay that? What are we going to do? Are we going to cut our losses with him?
Well, I can't say what the problem is with him just staying on loan there.
Well, maybe it's Newcastle that don't want to funny around no more. They just want their money.
But if they can get it, they need the certainty of it, or they prefer the certainty of it. I think if you're still carrying a cost of 11 million, and we're asking for 10, then you take it, don't you? You let them go for 6 or 7 or something, and just take a small hit.
I think that's what might happen.
But the problem is, don't you think that's extremely cheap though for a starting goalkeeper?
It's not like accepting.
To me, that's extremely cheap. Yeah, why do we have to cater to this guy?
I only.
Well, because otherwise we bring him on and we are paying all his wages. At the minute, Sevilla are playing best
Yeah.
part
They
of his
played.
wages.
And they played him, so he was an integral part of their season, as bad as it was, really, if you watch La Liga. But
Just beating Barcelona.
yeah, but I mean, it hasn't been a good season overall. So, you would say, look, just loan him out. I don't know, but you go, Tim, go on then while I dig for this information.
Well, I mean, it depends how he's played, isn't it? Apparently, he has played well for Sevilla, but I can't stop looking at Jamie. He's frozen in time and he's looking very stern about something. Yeah, so
thrown from the tone.
So apparently he's played well, So if Sevilla want him but can't cough up the money, then, like you say, Wyn, why wouldn't you compromise and say, okay, let's do a loan deal? Because then a year goes by, providing he keeps up the standard, in a year's time, Sevilla might then be willing to pay, whatever, 10 million, 9 million. And by that point, I'm assuming, you know more than me, Wyn, about this, but with the PSR stuff, we can then accept that money. So to me, that seems like the common sense for both parties.
Yeah, that seems a win-win for me.
Is Jamie there? Jamie, he's knackered. So anyway, it looks like I'm digging some information here on why Vlachodimos is upset with Newcastle United. So he claims that he was told of a plan when he arrived at Newcastle, but the plan changed a week before the first game of the season. According to Atletico, via News Pow, Vlachodimos said, in quote, "There was a plan for me. A week before the first match, the plan changed and the things they had told me didn't happen. Despite it felt very good, so did my family at Newcastle." Now he's changing the narrative, see? The thought came that you have to give it something extra every day. That's what I try to do. From morning to noon, I was in the gym every day. I wanted to do something different. I certainly wasn't happy because I wasn't playing. They told me something else. I was angry, but I worked. Ultimately, I do it for myself. I don't do it for them. Every footballer wants to play, he says. I had the goal of going to the World Cup with the national team, and that's what kept me from going. Vlachodimos joined, of course, Newcastle with Elliot Anderson doing the PSR thing. So he's basically blaming him for not going to the World Cup and, well, just like any other player, pausing his career to a certain extent, being promised one thing, maybe playing time, I don't know, and he wasn't given that. Now, is Greece going to the World Cup? I ain't got a clue. I ain't got a clue on what's going on, but I thought he was the starting goalkeeper. So what's the blame there? Are they going to the World Cup and they selected another guy, or they didn't make the World Cup and he feels that's why, because he wasn't able to, I don't know, perform or whatever? I'm not sure. That's something that we could definitely...
If he was a good trainer and he was ahead of Pope and Dubravka at the time, then he would have got in. Nobody's going to say, well, you're the best keeper here, and we're paid whatever it was, bloody 20 million quid for him or something. But we're not picking you. I mean, I think it's down to what he was like, what he was training like, is it not? I don't know what the plan might have been. He might have said, come here, it fixes the PSR hole for Nottingham Forest, and we'll loan you to Sevilla in the first week. And then they didn't, so he had to sit on the bench watching for a year. I don't know. But I would say if he was any good, if he looked like he should have been picked in the first team, he'd have got picked. He might have sat on the bench and watched Pope play 40 games a season, but, Dubravka was ahead of him. That's down to how they're training. That's down to the assessment that the staff are making as to who's a top dog, who's number two, and who's not. As
Greece didn't qualify, by the way.
He did sit on the bench for the Wimbledon League Cup match because he came on in the second half, and that was he kept a clean sheet. But that was the only half that I can remember him playing.
Mm-hmm. Well, Greece didn't make the World Cup. Well, Tim, I mean, what do you make of this assessment?
Well, I think the signing was foisted upon Eddie Howe, wasn't it? He had seemingly no say, it seems, in this. So it was a really weird one, in that Eddie Howe was then got a goalkeeper at the training ground he probably didn't want. So he's got his own preconceived ideas as to who he sees as number one between Dubravka and Pope, and then suddenly, we have Vlachodimos there, and I think your point still stands, Ian, in terms of it's then down to Eddie Howe to judge who is the best trainer and who looks like the best player being number one. But I think it was a weird one where Eddie Howe's probably gone at the season with probably Pope in mind as the number one if we couldn't get Trafford. And it's suddenly who's this keeper? And it's a bit of a shambles, isn't it? The way with PSR, the way that was.
But just to be fair to Vlachodimos, I think a few times, definitely me and Wyn both agree that how bad could he do? We said many times, give him some time. And on that token, in the same token, we have criticized Eddie Howe for his selection. So, he didn't select Vlaco. Maybe he should have. I mean, I criticize him for backstabbing, throwing Dubravka under the bus, ran over him, backed up again, ran over him again after he signed a contract. So, let's not make it, Eddie Howe is this altar boy. He's made some decisions. And he has to face
the goalkeepers.
No, well, I agree. This is what I mean. It's as the season goes on, you've got keepers who are training, and it's up to Eddie Howe to then pick the best one for the job, regardless how it came about. Obviously, I just mean at the beginning when it happens, I think it's a bit of a weird one, where all of a sudden there's this keeper there that Eddie Howe didn't want. So it's a weird situation that way, and just speaks to how ridiculous PSR can be. I think there's a place for the financial rules, but that instance there was all wrong. But I do agree. I think especially when you look, I mean, obviously he wasn't here this season, but when you look at some of the mistakes Pope was making, Vlachodimos didn't seem to kind of do anything wrong when he played in the cup games, did he? But obviously Dubravka came in and did really well, the back end of the season before Pope came back in. So, yeah.
Exactly.
That was the point, was that at that time we still had Dubravka on the books. And, I haven't seen a hell of a lot of Vlachodimos, but, Dubravka was always my favourite in front of even Pope, so I certainly wouldn't have had in front of Dubs.
Yeah, but my point is that even this season, we've seen some dodgy mistakes from certain goalkeepers. People said that Ramsdale wasn't up for it. The Vlachodimos never. He's the one that he can say, I've never got an opportunity to actually showcase my talent in the game. So he could have a point. I don't know if it was promised anything, to be honest, but I don't know if because that's the thing. He's saying he was promised something. Why would he be promised something if he's not ready to play? And I'm assuming if Paul Mitchell promised him something, he wouldn't bring it out, because why would he do that? I'm assuming he would bring it out because he knows that the people that made him the promise still working in the club. I don't know.
That's the weird situation, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? He's saying he's promised something. I'm assuming Eddie Howe wouldn't have promised him to be first choice, because, like I say, it wasn't something he probably didn't really want. So maybe it was Paul Mitchell, who knows? But that also speaks to how out of sync, those two were. I think there's an option, by the way. Maybe could he have recalled Vlachodimos this season, considering how poor Pope and Ramsdale at times have looked?
That's something. That's something right there. That's good. Thank you to Sean Sean Theme Park. Sean Theme Park. Sean Theme Park. Thank you, man, for becoming a member of the channel. Appreciate that. Please hit that join button. Become a member. Smash the like button, folks. That way, help the channel grow and get to as many people as we can. And thank you to everybody supporting, of course, watching at their homes or wherever you're watching from. Smash that like button. So the Vlachodimos situation is out there. Iain, anything else on Vlachodimos? I mean, again, another position that hasn't been specifically, one goalkeeper didn't take over it. So, I mean, it's still ours, by the way. It's still our goalkeeper, so anything could be done.
It is weird. I mean, he, as far as I can see, he was just never part of the first team thinking at all, was he? So if he's been promised that he's going to be chance to battle on for number one and play the cup games, and then he doesn't, then that's the promise that was broken. But like I say, they're not going to cut their nose off to spite the face. If in training he looked like he deserved it, he'd have got a go, I'm sure. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's really a curious footnote in Newcastle's history as to how we managed to sign him as part of the deal that took Anderson away. The all
That will go
interest about
down
him
as one of
because
the worst
he's never played.
deals. It'll go down as one of the worst deals in Newcastle history. Effectively, we got 15 million for Anderson.
To let Anderson go. I mean, that's criminal if once you look at it like that, man.
Crackers. Absolute crackers. But
especially if they're about to sell him for $100.
For you. That's what it gives you. That's what it deals you. You've got to handle it.
Now, according to Lee Ryder, and I've got another piece of news. It's 4 hours ago. Thank you, Connor, by the way, taking care of social media. Emil Kraft is believed to have been told he can leave at the end of the season when his contract runs out. He's 31 years of age, has not played for Newcastle since November, has been ruled out for the remainder of the season. I don't know what his injury is, by the way. That's another injury mystery with Newcastle United. He joined us way back in 2019 for around £5 million and has been a versatile player covering right back, center back, etc. So what do we make of that? It seems like we're doing a bit of a clean out, to be fair. Maybe a little too late. Dude.
It's overdue, isn't it? Let's be honest. How many times have we sat on this show and said we've still got Steve Bruce players? That's who we're relying on. If we rotate, we're rotating with Steve Bruce players. How often have we said that? And they're not good enough to get us where we want to be. So, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Damn, man. That's how you treat somebody else.
I do remember that game when he played centre-half with Paul Dummett, and then we went and won 3-0 at Old Trafford in the League Cup. He was very good that night. I've always thought Kraft was a solid player and unspectacular.
Of course.
But injury-prone these last few years, injury-prone. At 31, if he had done anything in the last couple of years, he would get an extension. So we didn't have another first-team player to replace because there's a lot that need replacing. But
that would be great.
He's barely made it on the pitch. Barely made it on the pitch. So, yeah, his contract's over. Let him go.
Yeah, but as a fan,
by the way, there is a report that came to light in the Shields Gazette today, which is saying that under the radar again, Emil Kraft, Fabian Schär, Dan Burn, John Ruddy, Sven Botman, and Jacob Murphy all received quote-unquote upgraded contracts at the end of last season. So they're all getting paid more than they were getting paid, which I think is fair given what they've done last season. Winning the cup and Champions League qualification. But yeah.
Well, when you talk about Kraft, though, me as a fan, I would be like, "Yeah, man, thank you for your service. You did a great spare tire." I wouldn't be doing what you're doing, bye bye, mocking and making fun of him. Why would you do that? Why would you do that, man? That's
love it.
If we said anything like that about one of your favorites, Gordon, for example, you'd be fuming.
I mean, that was shambolic.
That's exactly the same. Well, Gordon, thank you very much. Bye bye.
No, man. That's a bit naughty what you did there, man. Yeah, that's a bit petulant. That's a bit petulant. Just bye bye. Like he didn't serve you for a while. Just like Trippier, by the way.
Hang on, we're talking here. Emil Kraft, Fabian Schär, Dan Burn, John Ruddy, Sven Botman. They all got upgraded contracts. Kraft and Schär, by all accounts, are going to be on their bikes.
Well, I don't know about Schär. I think Schär's going to get a new contract.
It's just a few extra quid for this year, though, Wyn. And that's when we're in the Champions League.
I think Schär will get a contract.
What I said is, if Kraft could stay fit, I think they would give him an extension. He's only 31, but he can't.
But we don't even know what he has.
There's no point. Let him go.
What's his issue? We still what's his name? Miley still got a. Miley still got a dead leg.
I think it's the same. It's Lascelles' injury that kept him out. So long without anybody saying what
the manager doesn't like. The manager doesn't like him injury.
When he moved to when he moved to Leicester in January, he gave that to Kraft to look after, and it's keeping him out until the end of the season. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. There's never much news about it. Even the journos have stopped asking about Kraft in the pre-match press conferences.
I don't know what's going on. Miley still got a dead leg. At some point, just cut it off, mate. If it's just weighing you down, I mean, what's the point? What is the injury of Miley? What's the injury? What was the injury with Lascelles? The club has been hiding this stuff strategically. I don't know for what reason. I mean, he's just injured. He's injured. But what's going on? That's the question. But to be fair, Kraft wasn't injured for a long time. He was a good spare tire when you needed him. So something's going on right now. But, you're going to need those, by the way. And again, if you're going to do all this whole overhaul, then you're going to have to sign players. What is the guarantee that Newcastle's going to sign players? Listen, man, I don't know. Tim?
Yeah, it's he's taken a bit. Yeah. All I was going to say there, Tim, sorry to get across here, is that Kraft has taken up a space in the first team squad that somebody in the reserves could step up and take. Because he sits and watches most weeks, doesn't he? So, why not get a little bit of throughput in that under 21 team, get some of them promoted into the first team, and give some of the under 18s a chance to play higher up as well.
Yeah, based on the injuries,
Tim,
I
go
agree.
on, Tim.
Yeah, just based on the injuries, I agree with that. But with Kraft, is when he was fit, you knew what you were going to get, and he never let us down really. So I think he's been a really good squad player for us. But like you say, the injuries is the issue because, like you say, Chris, you do need squad players who you can rely on, who aren't necessarily going to be kicking up a fuss if they're not starting every game. And Kraft definitely was that. But yeah, with the injuries, it's a problem. I think with Cher, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens because the fact that there could be a big turnover of players, means that I think, like Jamie said before, do you give Cher an extra year and kind of cement that position for now, where you got the 4 centre backs already in place, and you don't have to sign anyone there. You can move the funds for elsewhere because there's going to be a high turnover. Because you need these squad players, you need these players who you know what you're going to get. And obviously Trippier is another one. Who's obviously, like we say, he's going now in the summer. So if Kraft's going in the summer, then you've got Cher. It's a lot of players to be going, and we've got to strike that balance, between keeping some squad players that we can rely on, but then freshening things up.
So Eddie's last 2 quotes on Emil Kraft. On January the 12th, he said he's trying to come back from a knee problem. He's not feeling absolutely at his best currently. I have got no definitive return date for him. We are taking it day by day, and we'll see if we can get him back quickly. Then on February the 17th, a month later, Emil has had an operation on his knee. So in all likelihood, it looks like his season is over, which is a blow for us. He first suffered the problem on international duty, and we hoped he could come back and be okay. It was clear in training that he wasn't going to get to the level needed, and there needed to be a surgical intervention. So that was what Eddie said on February the 17th. So it's a
Thank you, Waz, for the super chat. Thank you, Waz. I appreciate it, man. And you're all right. I just love one, though. One of those. That's it. Anyways. I mean, look, I don't know. That's fine. Listen, if we need to offload, we need to offload. That's whatever. It is what it is. Now. All I'm getting into the thing is now that we need to sign players, and we need to be rather quick with it, strategic. In that particular sense, I agree. You can't wait until the window starts. You got to already identify talent right away. And according to Buenos Aires Times, Newcastle are interested in 17-year-old Argentinian striker Lautaro Piola from Vélez Sarsfield. So the fact that we're being linked with these South American players, I love it because we never were before. That means something is brewing in the background. We need these players. However, with that in mind, like a talent like that is, you got to use them, of course, but you can't put the responsibility of being a first team, part of the first team 11 yet. So you'll have to wait and see. Now, he is being compared to Inter Milan striker Lautaro Martinez. So that might...
He's got the same name.
Yeah. No, but that look, if he can be as good as that, that's a proper center forward. So we should have gone for him.
Well, this is evidence, is it not, of Thomas Federspiel doing his thing in South America?
Maybe so.
Let's hope it is. We're talking about Newcastle should have targets lined up. There should be ducks in a row right now, waiting for the window to open. Then, we've also learned, have we not, last week, that Newcastle can keep secrets. Nobody knew a thing about the sale of St. James's Park, which happened like 9 months ago now.
You can't compare that, though.
Well, why not?
Because Eddie Howe's not going to know about that. I mean, anybody, or the DOF, he wouldn't know that. It's not his job. It's nothing to do with him. Not even the CEO, really, unless they want to keep him involved. Because that decision, that transaction, is going to be, it's a corporate level, man. It's not a team thing. It's not about Newcastle United men's team. It's not really. So
I still think the fact that they kept it under wraps for as long as they did speaks volumes about the...
I guarantee you, Eddie Howe had zero knowledge of that. But why would he know? Why would it let him know? Based on what?
If nothing else, based on the fact that it was freeing up money.
No, man. They just got to tell him you got money available if that's the case. So I don't know. I don't think so. But it could be. Regardless, we are looking at targets somewhere else, which is good. And but we're going to be judged on the proper players that we bring in. And on that particular note, ladies and gents, who are we bringing in? We're going to look at a center forward. Or we're going to look at Trippier's gone. You're going to have to get a proper right back. That you're not going to get a young Bairn to come in and play. As much as Trippier's,
first team choice.
I mean,
first
that's
team
the
right
situation.
back. Trent.
Trent Alec.
He's available for 40 mil.
No, I will get him. I will get him in a heartbeat. But is he really coming to Newcastle?
It's the wages, though, isn't it? Well, I don't know what he's on, but I'm sure it's the massive.
Listen, if you
he's got a big ego,
if you had just paying 40 million for him,
he won't want to be sitting on the bench at Madrid. That's
I don't know
what he was offered in January.
That's quite a bench, to be honest. I don't know if there's a bench. If there's a bench to be at, to aspire to be at, that's quite a bench. So I don't know. He plays Champions League games. He's part of the equation. But but also, that could be a reason to want to leave.
He's missed out on his World Cup this year, I think.
Nah, he's going. There's no way that he's not going to.
Shades of Michael Owen leaving Madrid to Newcastle to get back in the England.
We are knackered.
But hopefully he can.
So all you're saying, Tim, is that it's feasible. That's all you're saying. It's feasible. But if we're looking for a ready-made, Premier proven right back at a price, if 40 million is the price they're after, then you've just got to square the wages away somehow.
Which can be done if you're only paying 40 million for him.
It's quality, no doubt about it.
I mean,
oh yeah,
I've always doubted his defensive capabilities, but no doubt about his attacking capabilities.
And nowadays, man, your wingbacks are going to be more attacking than defending, so that's just the way they are nowadays. But yeah, I mean, a proper replacement is going to be an issue. So, I mean, what do you do with center backs? Is it going to be? Are you going to trust Botman to be healthy because he hasn't been forever? So now you're going to have to rely on Byrne. Can you rely on Byrne for another season to be the main guy? You can rely on Chow no matter how many times you say he's rubbish when he's not. He's one of the best signings. He's the best signing of this season. for Newcastle United. Doing great. He's been getting played every single game. At some point, he's going to be tired. But, that's one thing. But what about, are we not going to, better our attacking force? Oh, that's going to cost a lot of money. So it's not going to be as easy as people think, by the way.
That all depends on whether Voltemada and Wissa come good, doesn't it?
Voltemada is going to be good if he plays center forward no matter what. The issue is, what about the wingers? What about Wissa? You probably need another center forward. It seems like Newcastle are looking for another center forward. But the thing is, you can't keep playing like this and expect Voltemada to perform. You're going to have to buy players that you can change the system. Right?
It depends on what Eddie Howe, if Eddie Howe's, going to be the man, it depends on what he has in mind, formation-wise, doesn't it? So if we want to play with two strikers, and that changes your transfer dealings. If we want to play with just one striker, then there's a conversation to be had about Voltemada then, because does Eddie Howe fancy Voltemada to be the lone striker? Again, you would have to change things up, as in, do you play with wing backs to support them more? Do you have wingers more narrow and change the team around that way? Which then might have an effect on who you buy for those positions. So it's like, it's really finely poised in that way, because the DOF and manager should be, like you say, having these discussions where they're lining up the targets, having the ducks in a row, but you've got to have in mind a vision as to what that team could look like. I mean, for me, I would go with two strikers. For me, I'd be looking to buy a striker who can play ahead of Voltemada. So I'd have Voltemada number 10. I'd buy a striker who's got pace and power, who can play ahead of him. And then you've got two centre mids behind. Obviously, it depends what happens with Tonali and Bruno. I mean, I'm going to assume that one of them's going to go. I'm going to assume probably Tonali. And it's a question of, do you have Miley step up and play alongside Bruno? And there was a lack of pace there, maybe, but I would have Miley, I think, in mind, to be honest, to step up next season. But then do you sell Gordon? Does Gordon want to go? So I definitely think, Alanga as well. I just think you've got to bite the bullet sometimes. I think you've got to kind of be a bit ruthless. And for me, Alanga, he might turn out to be a decent player, a good player, but for me, he's not going to get to that level we need. So do you cut your losses that way, or at least just spend the money you have to get another right winger in? And obviously we need a right back, and with defence, you're saying, Chris, I think part of us would love to just rely on Botman and say, you know what, you're my man. Fitness-wise, you'll prove it next season. If he was to be fit for 70% next season, Dan Burn is fine for me to play the extra 30% in that maybe last year of his. But, if Botman can't be fit next season, then I mean, some would say the line's been drawn this season, but certainly next season the line definitely will be drawn. I think for fullback, Nico Williams for Forest, I think, is a decent player. I think he's a very decent player. He can attack, and he can play left back as well. Maybe he's one to look at.
I like Murillo at Forest, and it was Wilson who brought him from Brazil, uncovered him from Brazil and brought him to Forest. So there might be if Forest get relegated, there'll certainly be a lot of teams after him, but we might have a little inside edge there that bring him to Newcastle.
Harry Wilson, of course, he's out of contract at Fulham.
True.
Shout out to Fulham, by the way. Shout out to Fulham, man. Proper club.
Another one.
Wishing Christians happy Easter. Proper club and Good Friday. I'll get my chance to get it in, get my elbow in. But there you go. And thank you, man.
Jed Spence. If Spurs,
Jed Spence, yeah.
If like Spurs go down, I'd definitely have Jed Spence.
Is his attitude good? I mean, he's a good player. I'm just
people are going on about his bit tiff with Frank and whatnot. But I just look at him. He's a good footballer. That's all I'm bothered about. Very good.
There's a lad at Wolves called Bueno who's very good at fullback, and Wan-Bissaka at West Ham. If it's them,
Wan-Bissaka as well.
He's a fabulous player.
Down. Yeah.
He scores every time he plays at St James's Park as well, so that wouldn't be a bad habit to get at fullback.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're jumping the gun, obviously, but
not too sure about Wan-Bissaka, but he used to be looked upon as, you know, the next best thing, didn't he? And I'm not sure.
Yeah,
he's a decent player.
He went to the
decent,
graveyard, but since he's gone to West Ham, I mean, you can argue, look where they are in the league. So is he doing that good a job? However, whenever I see him play, he always seems to do okay to me.
Yeah, he's good.
I mean, if we could get somebody, I mean, Jed Spence, you're saying he can play left back and right back, and
yeah, exactly.
I'm not as convinced about him, but you know, somebody like him or Williams for us who can do both, that would be a massive bonus, wouldn't it? If Tino goes, who does that, and you can replace him with somebody versatile who can play both full-back positions equally as well, then that would be a massive bonus. I mean, with centre midfields, again, goes back to formation, you know, because if Eddie Howe wants to play with a 3 still, then, you know, who do you get then? If we're playing with the 2, we might not even need anybody if you want Mighty to step up. But with the Ugarte links you were discussing earlier, I mean, I agree with what Christina was saying, in that just the fact that we've been linked with the number 6 does give me a bit of encouragement, because we do need a player who can sweep things up. We've said it a million times, you know, who can protect the back 4. Tonali and Bruno and Ramsey, the very good players, quality top players, but they want to go forward. They can do it here and there, and Tonali seemed to do it for a good 5 months or so, but I think ultimately they want to go forward. We need somebody in there who's happy defensively to look over his shoulder and be that rock for the back 4. And I think Miley could do that, you know? Yep. But if it's not going to be Miley, I think we need to sign somebody who can do that.
Yeah. And most importantly, how the Tonali saga develops is going to be a big deal, because too much time wasting energy on that is going to, and then you got so many players to replace. You know, it's going to be a very, very tough time if we just focus on that. So we just hope that we can do it as fast as we can. I mean, it's going to be very difficult, gentlemen.
If I'm running Newcastle United, I'm going to
which we hope you'd never do.
I'm going to be saying to the director of football, you have to tell me by mid-June, at the latest mid-June, if Tonali is willing to sign a new contract.
Well, he's not forced to tell you, man. Yeah, he's just gonna. He can't tell you something unless he has an offer or
no. What I'm saying is, if I'm on the PIF board, I'm saying we need to know that before the window opens.
You ask Tonali, you want to leave? He says no.
If Tonali's humming and hawing, then we just cut our losses and bite the bullet. Get as much money as we can. Make it official that he's available. And not this is the price, and see who comes in for him.
No. But what if he says?
What we used to do. All I was going to say was what we used to do a lot. What we used to do a lot is if we were selling a player, take Tonali. If it's Man United that want Tonali, try and work a Kobe Minu or an Ugarte into that deal so that he's replaced on his deal. If it's City that are after Tonali, let's have James Trafford shoved into that deal and not get all the cash in, but get a player as part of it. Just saying. There might be a little bit of leverage to get a player to move that we otherwise wouldn't get if we just turned up with a cash offer.
If Tonali now doesn't know what club wants him, and you ask him if he wants to leave, he says no, because there's nothing there's nothing, there's no offer, or he doesn't like the club that is asking for him privately, then he'll say no. And if Man City, a club that
if he says no, you say right, there's the contract saying it.
What do you mean contract? He's got a contract until 2030, man.
No, but he's going to get more money. He's got to get more money.
No, but what if he says, I'm good, I don't need a contract. I'm 2030, so a long contract. That could mean that he is waiting for somebody, because he's not going to sign up for more money, meaning that the buyer will have to pay more, therefore chances are he's going to stay. But when the summer opens, Man City comes for him, and he wants to go there. So what are you going to do now with your plan of no? What you're saying, a deadline. Newcastle's, you can't do that, man.
Well, I think you can do that.
But what if he says, I don't want to go anywhere, and I don't need a new contract because I got a contract. But later
hang on,
on,
no, you say to him, no, nobody turns down more money.
But he doesn't want. No, but if he doesn't want to, because he thinks maybe when the window opens,
if
a
he
better
doesn't
opportunity
want to,
will come.
That's your answer. He doesn't want to.
So you put him up for sale then?
Yeah.
So you think that is normal for Newcastle United to say, with the player saying he doesn't want to leave, telling you that you will just say, no matter, Tonali doesn't want to leave, but he's for sale, give us this amount of money. You think that's normal? When's the last time you've seen that?
What I'm saying is...
I know what you're saying.
I think Tonali would either say, yes, I do want to leave, or give us some more money.
I think he would only say he wants to leave if he knows there is. Why would he cut his foot off? Why would he shoot himself in the foot? He wouldn't say he wants to leave unless there's somebody who wanted to pay for it.
How's he shooting himself in the foot? He's putting himself in the shop.
He doesn't know any offers. How's he going to say he wants to leave if there's no offers, there's nobody wanting him? He has to know for sure. Like,
how many listen, we're discussing Tonali. Why are we discussing Tonali? Because we're getting all these reports that his agent is talking to Man United, is talking to Arsenal, is talking to Man City.
But there has to be something concrete if he's going to tell you.
And he'll know that.
Go. What if there isn't anything concrete? You can't force him to sign a new contract or to tell you he wants to leave if he doesn't. Or if he doesn't want to leave.
You know, Newcastle make a public statement in that case.
Okay,
you know, we've spoken to Tonali, and Tonali says he doesn't want to leave.
Okay, and then come the summer, and then he wants to leave again. So I'm telling you is that we're held by, you know what, by the players. It's no matter, just the same as Isaac. Some will train as opposed to Isaac. Some will be for the team as opposed to Isaac. Some, like Isaac, won't. You know, at the end of the day, we're held for ransom. That's just the way it is, unfortunately.
Well, if I had any influence at Newcastle United, I wouldn't allow that to be the case. We will be the ones holding all the cards this time. We're not going to have another Isaac situation.
How does Newcastle hold the cards? I want Tim and
just put them up for sale and see what comes in.
But that's never going to happen, man. You know.
Why is it never going to happen?
When have you seen the last time you've seen a club say this guy's for sale?
Give us as much money all the time. You know all the time who's for sale and who's not for sale.
Give me an example.
Well, there's millions of examples.
One at the moment.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to put prove that if Tonali says he wants to stay, but you're going to put him up for sale anyway, you've got to try
Trippier
and
right now.
Keep the relationship with the player.
Yeah, but
Trippier is right now.
Yeah, Trippier
Everybody
wants to
knows
leave.
Trippier's up for sale now.
No, he's not.
He's going
to leave.
He's not up for sale, but everybody knows he's available.
Exactly. Wait, what? He's leaving, period.
Yeah, but a lot of the clubs, what they'll do really is they'll contact, obviously they'll tell the agent will speak to the media, and how many times you see like Sky Sports or whoever say it's widely known or it's widely reported that X player is wanting to go, or X club is wanting to sell X player. Do you know what I mean? So
No, but that would only happen to him if the player tells you he wants to leave. So yeah, you know, he's going to leave. But if he doesn't,
why is he not? If he wants to leave, why is he going to say he doesn't want to leave?
You're not looking at it from the perspective that if he doesn't have any other, why would I? It's the same thing. Why would I want to sell my house that I live in if I don't have another plan to get another house? Why would I want to do that? Why would he shoot himself in the foot?
You want to sell your house,
especially with the fans, because if he says he wants to leave and doesn't leave for some reason, the fans he's already knackered with the fans. So why would he want to do that to himself? Come on, man. Yeah, you're being naive then, man. Go on, Tim. Sorry about that, man. Go on.
Just we've got a super chat first. Do you want to do that, mate?
Okay, yeah. Look, I'll make it easy. 40, 70 million value, 150 tops. Please? Is that what it says?
Players, I think.
Players.
Oh, players. Yeah. There you go. Thank you, Wise Up. Appreciate it. Tim, go on, man. Finish your point.
What you could do really is you could with the clubs that were interested, and again, behind the scenes, these agents will be talking, so you can find out who it is that's talking, and you can say to the clubs, we want an answer by X date. Show us the money by whatever date, and you can say to Toon Army, look, if you want to go to these clubs, Man City, I mean, I say Arsenal, I wouldn't really want to see Toon Army go to Arsenal and Man United, but let's say hopefully there's interest from abroad if he does go. You can say to the clubs, we need to know by X dates, and you can say to Toon Army, this is what's happening. If these clubs don't come up with the money, we have to look out after ourselves as well. So we need your mind and head to be right. If you're not able to get that move, like you say, we can't have an Isaac situation. And you can gauge, I suppose, then, can't you, with Toon Army, as to how he'll be. I'd like to think he won't go on like Isaac. I'd like to think most players wouldn't go on like that. And if those buying clubs can't come up with the money, don't think Toon Army's worth the price, then that's their prerogative, that's their judgment. And you can say to Toon Army, look, they don't think you're worth that price. That's on them. We need to crack on now. So maybe if we can set a deadline, that might do the trick. But like you say, we cannot have an Isaac situation where it drags on like it did last summer.
And we won't have an Isaac situation. One of the main reasons that the Isaac situation arose was because of a broken promise. So allegedly. So what we're saying to Toon Army is that this is one cards on the table. This is the way it's going to be. Are you happy here, or do you want to move on? Let's do the deal. The season ends in May, so we've got from May till June to decide, and then we've got a month after that before the window opens. There's no reason at all why it shouldn't be finalised one way or the other before
because the player determines when he wants to leave. You're not going to tell him when he wants to leave. So again, unless he has a true offer, if he has a Man City, you're telling him, look, we're going to get you, we want to get you, then he probably tell Newcastle, yes, Man City wants to get me, I want to be gone by the summer, or any Italian team. That's on the ideal world. However, if he doesn't have any, if you will, offer, then why would he tell you he wants to leave when he doesn't have any issue? That's my way of thinking. Isak didn't say he wanted to leave until Liverpool showed interest.
No, well, allegedly he did.
No, man.
We found out after, during the course of that whole rat saga, we found out that the club knew about it 6 months earlier. When Mitchell didn't come up with the Amanda promised raise. That was how long the club had known about that. And as I say, my belief, completely unproven, whichever way, is that PIF thought, no, there's nobody going to boss us around. We are going to show them who the boss is. He's going nowhere. He's contracted until 28. He's stopping until 2028. And that's the end of the story.
I mean, I think Toon Army, he probably, I would assume that he's got his one eye on leaving, because he's letting his agent mouth off constantly like this. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, look, can you just get him to, shut his mouth for a minute? Because it seems like every couple of weeks he's coming up with new quotes about Newcastle being a stepping stone, and this was the plan, and we're looking at this club and that club. So and I don't begrudge Toon Army necessarily wanting to leave if some of these clubs come in and he wants to further his career. I mean, some would argue about how we stood by him and have that argument. I can see that as well. But, if Toon Army wants to go, I mean, certainly the likes of Real Madrid and stuff, if they come in, then it's like, okay, I can accept that. I mean, just go about it in a decent way. Just don't have your agent going on like this. Yeah. But I think just by the fact that his agent is talking like this, if Toon Army didn't have any interest in leaving, I would have thought he would have said to his agent, look, can you just put a lid on that, please? Because I'm actually happy in Newcastle.
Yeah. By the way, Tracy, Tina's good. All is good, man. All is good. Don't you worry. Everything is good in the neighborhood. We're just passionate fans. Sometimes it gets out of hand. But there you go. Tonight we'll leave, says Daniel Taylor. but it will be managed a lot better by the club. Agent is just trying to get a bidding war between clubs. There you go. I'll tell you what. Let's do some chats. Hey, if you didn't know, there was a poll out there. According to a recent survey from the Chronicle, 54.9% of Newcastle fans want to keep Nick Voltemada, winning the others on the other 45.1% that want him knackered. But
I'm definitely in the 54.
I guess listen, I think Voltemada is the future of this club. The proper center forward, put him up there, and you're gonna win Champions Leagues, man. It's that easy. It's that easy.
If only.
I certainly don't have that confidence.
I'm telling you, man. By the way, he's a great player. He's looking good. He's looking good. So, anyway, let's get into the comments out there and what people are saying. Lee, she came back on. There you go. Man, where's the Star Cummins win? You ain't doing your job, man. Come on.
Hey.
We got Chris looks very Man City the neat. Says, well, look, it's a proper shirt, man. I'm a businessman, man. Always got to dress up. I ain't got time to wear them fanboy shirts that some wear around here. Eddie Howe and everything else, on their shirts. Come on, man, get a life. I'd be walking out with an Eddie Howe face on my shirt, man. I'd be kind of weird, man. I'm not gonna lie. Reluctant gamer. I am Iain, even if we finish 12th. Damn, 12. Put that up, man, again, because I want to see what's going on with my boy Reluctant. There you go. To give one more chance and see how he starts next season, get a successful window this time. Transfer not been easy with Isaac and Russia to sign players. Well, that's the club's fault. It's nobody else's fault but the club's. And he was in charge of that. I got it now. I see the comments. Becca, Gavin makes a good point. Football doesn't stand still, so last year's accomplishment mean nothing in this new season. Ooh, there you go. Stop being sentimental, man. Stop being sentimental, Wyn. Tanya, our new name. Shout out to Tanya there in the chat. Eddie Howe is not on the pitch kicking the ball. The players need to be held accountable. They are all professionals, says Tanya. Got a new super chat in, says BS, Chris, says Waza. Juan Linton. All successful clubs change managers regularly. It's a part of the game. Stop with the feared tactics. Ooh, Mighty Wyn. What you got to say about that, man?
All I've seen is look where it's happened.
Where is it happened?
Chelsea,
Spurs are knackered.
Spurs, Forest.
Well, Chelsea, to be fair, what do you mean it's Chelsea? Chelsea are there, up there, fighting for Champions League and above.
Chelsea are not where Chelsea should be. Ask their fans.
Well, certainly. But they're not, Spurs is a whole different monster, isn't it? Spurs are being relegated almost to a certain, I don't think they will, but Niall, it showed in the summer with European players not even coming to us with Champions League. So there you go. They didn't, yeah. Well, that's an interesting thing. Well, I mean, if you compare them to Liverpool, though, like Ekitiki, they had Champions League and a chance to win in the Premier League. So it's a bit different. De Bevis, I thought he should be getting top 8 after spending $250 million and finishing 5th. Anything lower than 8th is failure. Mercury Dime, do you think any players question Eddie's tactics to Eddie himself? American, well, that's hard to do, to be honest, because the manager can just knacker you forever. So I don't know if that's necessarily.
I'm sure that the leadership group, as they call themselves, will be.
I don't know, man.
Things. You not reckon?
Well, I mean, yeah, you can question things, but you can question things, but going up to Eddie and says, "Look, man, what's the matter with you? Why do you have to put that guy there?" I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they would do that. I don't know if that's appropriate for any player to do
that. But they'll certainly be talking about performances and why the performances have been the way they are.
Yeah, they could. You can definitely be more professional and not petulant.
I don't think they'll be gagged in that respect.
Well, especially I would say that a player not being played in position. But then again, I don't see Voltemada going to Ed and telling him, "Look, you're knackering me here," because he's a young guy. He's probably scared not to ever play again. So I don't know. KD says, could make an argument that with all things considered, only Aston Villa is outperforming us. There you go. Brian Penny should be in a formal season, but this season, draw and lose is the best bet. Man, people are down.
It was on about Palace.
Can I just say Wyn was correct all the time in terms of better players coming to the team. Money goes up. We've hit a player ceiling. PAF need to back him or the manager.
We're not good enough for the best, and we're too good for the rest.
MB says selling one of our stars to a club that we are competing with without absolutely madness by whoever is sanctioning this. And Fuller Chris, they have just lied to him to get the last minute deal over the line. They're talking about Vlachodimos. Well, they probably did. The Bevis, no arguing, checking out. Let me know when Boaky's back. Boaky will be back. Boaky will be back. I mean, he just got a little upset, but it is what it is. Pablo, tonight's agent is paving the exit. And when we don't get European football, he will probably come out and agree he wants to leave. There you go.
If European football.
I see.
That's the biggest question.
I see Steve mentioned Diego Gavilan in the comments, South American players. Gavilan was playing in the first game I attended at St James's 99, 2000, Coventry at home, and he scored in that one. So shout out to the Sparrowhawk, as he was known.
Oh yeah, man. We take
Paraguay and we had on our books.
We are. Of course, Almiron is the other one. There you go. We had about every South American. We have had Brazilians, some good ones, some dodgy ones. I've had Ecuadorians, had Peruvians, of course. Proper one really, and the other one Velka didn't make the cut. There's only two Toon legends in Peruvian Toon legends. There's me and Nobi for Newcastle United. And Argentinian? Oh, yeah. We got, what's his name? What's his name?
But hey, I want curly hair too.
Colaccini.
Oh, no, Colaccini. I know that. Well, no, but there's another one that people don't remember. No. Well, Gutierrez, Argentina, of course. Yeah. And actually, there's some good ones. No, but the one I'm thinking of is it's another one.
What was
centre forward? Man.
Was it centre back? No,
you're thinking of centre back. I'm thinking the centre forward.
I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, man. This is criminal.
Cordero, not Cordero.
Centre back,
Cordero. What? Yeah.
No,
they're not Colaccini, obviously. Man, this is criminal. I can't believe I'm.
Bobby Robson. Clarence Acuna.
Bobby Robson is English, mate. I don't know if you knew that. But yeah. Oh, I know it, man. It's coming with a B. Bacedas, I think.
Bacedas.
Bacedas. Centre midfielder. Centre
midfield. Yeah, that's right.
Acuna and Bacedas came in.
I can't believe it. He played at Vélez Sarsfield in Argentina, where this kid is linked with us, the Lautaro kid.
And also a player, by the way, that I didn't think might be the one you're thinking of, Chris, that I thought was very good and didn't get a fair crack of the whip, Fernandez.
Oh, Fernandez. No, yeah, Fernandez is good.
I thought he was a good centre-back.
Fernandez is good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bacedas, man. Christian Bacedas. Why did I
Cordoni as well.
And Cordoni is the other one.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Wolfman.
Yeah. That's right. Daniel Cordone. That was his name. We had some.
South America had though, by the way.
Who? Fuma. Oh, fucking.
He was Brazilian, though, wasn't he?
No, we had some dodgy Brazilians, man. I'm telling you, it wasn't Brazilian. He was just from Sweden. We mistaken the
not
the
from
shirt.
Argentina.
Yeah, man. No, but have we had any Uruguayans? Man, that's a tough one. I don't think so. I don't think Uruguayan. That's a tough one. I don't think we had any Uruguayans. Not in my time.
Iconic. I'm thinking of an iconic Colombian.
Well, we've got the octopus, of course.
Asprilla. Asprilla is the ultimate Colombian. But
And,
Venezuela, we did have Venezuela.
Oh, he's still playing for them, man.
Rincon.
Rondon.
No, Rondon. Rincon is the other one, the other Venezuela. Rondon, center forward.
Good player.
Oh, we also did
winning Chileans
Yeah, we got the Robledo brothers.
And we've got another Clarence Acuna, who I thought was a good player as well.
I thought he was good as well.
Oh, look at the chat. Ignacio Gonzalez, Uruguayan.
Wow.
Is that right? Wow.
Oh, yeah, that is right. He was. Yeah, and he was one of the ones who sealed the fate, unfortunately, of Kevin Keegan leaving with Dennis Wise and co. getting players in.
But you're talking about, if you're talking about him, you're talking about 2008 Keegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we went down there.
Yeah.
We went down under Alan Shearer. Everybody forgets about that, by the way. Everybody gives him what do you call a waiver. They don't put it on Shearer.
Don't make that a Geordie, of course.
Was it on Shearer? Come on.
Yeah.
But he was the manager in charge. Am I lying? Listen, if I put my money on this, if we're playing what do you call win? What is that dodgy game you play? You stole £1,000 from that TV show. The TV show where you talking about Wigan and winning the FA Cup when you were knackered and all that.
Oh, impossible!
Come on, man.
Which FA Cup winning club? So five of those.
We're not going to do it to you. We're going to cancel. If you ask me who was the manager for £1,000 that got relegated with Newcastle United in 2008, who would it be? That's all I'm asking.
Well, would you blame Rafa? Next one.
No, I wouldn't blame Rafa. I'm just, if I had to answer the question, it would have to be Alan Shearer. It's just the way it is. But of course, he gets a pass because he tried, but it wasn't enough. But yeah, so Uruguayan, we did have one. That's interesting. I totally forgot about him. What else? What other Bolivian? We ain't got no Bolivians though. That's where we draw the line.
We are knackered.
We're getting knackered, man. No Bolivians at all, man. That's about it. We had every South American country.
Oh,
that's good.
You've missed Miggy out for Paraguay as well.
No, we mentioned. We mentioned.
Because I said. I said Gavilan was the penultimate because Miggy was the last.
We never. No, when we talk about Americas, we never had Mexican players. As some Mexican players, we never had that. You would have loved some chicken, cheese, and rice, and some guacamole. That would have been lovely in the locker room.
Oh, what about our fictitious Mexican player though?
Who? Oh, Nunez, man, Munoz.
Oh yeah.
So we did have a Mexican in the house, baby. Get in, man. And he was a proper player, by the way, man.
We actually had a US centre back, Chris.
Oh no, the US. My time, of course, is gonna have to be the left back or right back. Was it?
Oh, I know what you're thinking of. Yedlin.
Come on. What is up with my memory today, man? I have an elephant's memory usually. DeAndre Yedlin, American hero, baby.
He was a good player, I thought, but we had a centre back in 2007. It was American. You know who it was?
Mua? No, he was New Zealand.
No, come on.
Yeah.
Man. No. Hold on. American.
Yep.
2007. I'm pushing the straws because that's my.
I think he's. I think he's one of the analysts on the American football programs now.
He wasn't there that long. He did a job for us.
He was only there on loan, wasn't he?
Aye.
From Man City.
Hold on.
Man
City? No.
I don't think it was,
Well, he went to Man City afterwards.
Did he?
Onyewu.
I think.
Yep.
Yeah, but right. Onyewu.
He's called Gooch.
Yeah. Oguchi Onyewu.
Yep. Yeah.
Man, but that's okay. Yeah. Well, no. We had another one. Andy Parkinson.
We had a Canadian.
Is Andy Parkinson American? I thought he was American. Is he not American?
Yep.
I'm sure he's American, but I have a feeling that he's from somewhere else.
Called Parkinson.
Andy Parkinson, man, look him up. That's back in your age, actually. Back in your time, in the 70s, 80s, man. Come on, Iain. Oh my God, man,
we are
not good, man. I think he was the first one. Let me look him up, actually. Hold on. But before we go, we got 1 minute.
I don't know Parkinson for Tranby, but he certainly wasn't.
We got one. We got a Parkinson here. All right, Andy Parkinson. Yeah, that's right. Tough. Well, he says it's born in South Africa. But why do I think he's American? He spent most of his life as in the U.S. The senior footballer started his career in South Africa, Highland Park, when he tried out for Newcastle in '78.
You have a cowboy hat. That's why you think he's American.
No, for some reason I thought he was American though. He was a part of the
There
U.S.
is.
national
I can't
team.
remember.
He was. Hey, wait a minute. He was a part of the U.S. national team as a midfielder in '84. So, listen, man, we can count him as American. There you go. Oh,
There's a Canadian. There is a Canadian as well, and I can't remember.
We had
his
no
name.
Canadians.
He used to play
No, I don't think we
centre-half.
had any Canadians.
We did. He played centre half. He was a reserve, and when he came on and he scored against Man United. What was that fella called? International.
You're not talking about Matty Longstaff who went to play in Canada, are you?
Oh, no.
No, I'm talking about a lot earlier than that.
Shout out to Waza there. Chris, tell us who'd you like this summer, dude? Oh, as far as the players concerned? Man. I mean, I just want really good signings. That's all I care. Like, players that are known. None of these gambles. That would be good. Trippier's a player that's known that wasn't a gamble. There you go. Somebody like that. You know what I mean? Somebody like that. Anyways, we got to go. But lovely show. And we'll be back again tomorrow, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the super chats. Thank you, Waza. Thank you, Sean Theme Park, for becoming a member. Thank you to Prosaic for gifting a membership as well. Yeah, thank you very much, all of you. Thank you to all the panelists. We'll be back again tomorrow, ladies and gents. Tomorrow, Geordie Prem Show. We start our coverage 6:30 all the way to 11 p.m. So there you go. Long coverage. So stay tuned for that.
David Edgar.
Anyway.
David Edgar is the Canadian, by the way. There you go.
There you go. So I guess we had just about everybody.
And
except for
Central.
Central.
I can remember was a goalie.
Except for Central America, and then
we are knackered.
We're knackered because we ain't getting
no. Well, we've got Suriname as well.
Yeah, but come on, man.
That's
we ain't got no El Salvador players or Nicaraguans or Hondurans.
Costa Rican.
Anyways, folks, we'll see you later. Take care. How are the lads?